into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Now it's like a special weekend edition. So first and foremost, I'd like to apologize. I haven't been on for a few days. My mom had back surgery and got released to come home this week. So I've been over there helping a lot, trying to make sure she's okay. So that's why you guys are getting a special weekend live. Maybe another one tomorrow. So we'll see. And a big, thank you to all of our veterans. Today is Veterans Day, if you guys don't know. So big thank you to all of our past veterans, all of our current veterans, all of our current, my nephew's actually current Air Force stationed overseas currently. So just a big shout out to anybody who has served in the military or has, done something. I'm freezing, so I'm sorry, you guys. I'm like so cold. But hi, everybody. Hi, Dolly Bear. Hi, Teresa, Pointer Lover. Hi, Marshall, Rexy. Hey, Sleuthy Goosey. Been missing you. Hi, Inspector Gadget, Crime Curious. Coffin Duffer Soaks. What's up, Marshall? Ginger Snaps, Rexy, CW. Hey, Missing Unsolved Crime. What's up, Aries Fire? Sniffing out crime with Loki. Hey, Terry. Dina. Hi, BR. Hey, Shaz. Hey, Shane. Good to see you. Serendipity. Hey, Natasha. It's a pointer lover. It's a pointer. Hey, Kaleido, Python Chick. Shannon's Copper. Cool Gamer MK. MK giving me eyeballs. What's going on in here? What's going on in here? Generally, Jenny. K-Braze. Hey, Music City Mom. Chris Owens. There's my lovely ATS. Sweet Dude. Jeanette. Hi, honey. The Lodger. Let's see who else is here. You guys know I get so much shit for like saying hi to everybody. Like people in town, why do you say hi to everybody? What time is it going to be at? I don't have to listen to you say hi to people. Hey, Julie. Hi, Glowbug. Jaded. C-Dub. Hey, Bridget. Hey, Joni. Mystic. Digital. Oh, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Hello to you too, J-Yo. So I thought that we could go through Hazeluian. Is it Hazeluian? Is that how you say that? Happy birthday to my Veterans Day, baby Will. Well, yeah, I like you guys. So, I mean, I wouldn't be here without you. I'd like to say hi to you. Yeah, it's personable. Yeah, hit the like button, folks. Joni Deputy. I like Deputy. Okay, so I'm putting together this thing. I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe I could just show you, but it's not done, so I don't know if I want to show you guys yet. But I was like hitting up all the witness stuff, and I was going through and trying to figure out like what witnesses said what, because I could never freaking remember. I'm like, one of them said this, one of them said that, and then I was like, you know what, you guys like to do stuff and go through things with me, so I was like, I'm just gonna do Are You Really Truth and Transparency? Dang, living the Cali life. So I was like, I'm just going to do this. I'll do it with you guys, and we can go through and see what these guys actually said, when they said it, why they said it, and who did they actually see. Plus, as you guys know, I've been looking into this lovely little leak of these crime scene photos. So hopefully we're going to have some answers very soon, at least on how long these particular photos have been out. So I've been working on that. And during this leak, right now the consensus is that there was 7 photos leaked. I think that there's more than that, but that's neither here nor there. But these 7 photos, it's supposedly 4 crime scene photos of the girls, 2 sketches, and sketches being like the police sketches. You guys probably saw them on the thumbnail, and the F tree. That's supposedly what's the 7 pictures in this leak. And I don't know. I think there's more, but that's where we're at right now. Hey, not there yet. Welcome in, Kelly Full Throttle. You hit the wrong thumb. Hey, True Crime Fangirl. Miss, yeah, this case has me so intrigued. I can't get out of it. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at other cases. We got the anniversary of Idaho, the Idaho 4 case coming up. I'm like, oh, there's just so much stuff happening. But I'm stuck here. I can't leave yet. I can't get out of here. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, message me. Message me. That's crazy. Hey, Ashley. You saw a pop? Well, out here in California, we get a soda. We don't get no pop. So I did watch that. I did watch his live yesterday. I'm still very confused on that, Ginger Snaps. I'm still very confused. Was a malicious intent? Yeah, I'm stuck in this Delphi hole, and I just keep telling myself that I'm going to finish up these certain pieces that I committed to, and then I'm going to go back to another case. And then every time I do that, then there's something that happens, like with the courts and everything else, and so I end up like postponing the things that I was working on. But this is one of the things I was working on, so I'm like, okay, we're actually being productive here. And then everything just gets lost, and then I'm just stuck down a rabbit hole. Yeah, the difference though is I trust Judge John to cut through the BS. Clearly with Delphi, that ain't gonna happen. I absolutely do too. I do too, and I know that there's people, that aren't convinced that they're prosecuting the right guy when it comes to the Idaho case, and that's fine. I think that we're on the right track there, and we'll see where it goes. Hey, Captain Howdy. I found your channel recently, Mr. the Captain Howdy, and I watched your video today. You do a great job. Just want to let you know that. I appreciate your channel. I was binge watching some things the other day, and then you did a video today on the transcripts of the I can't think today. Maybe I shouldn't be live. On the submersible that blew up. The submersive that blew up. I can't think of the dang name of it. The Ocean Gate. But it was really good. It was put together really well. I think you do a good job. Way better than I could do when it comes to editing like that. But so I wanted to put this together. So I'll show you guys what I'm working on. Like I said, it's not done, but you can understand kind of where I'm at and why I'm doing it and just putting it together, and then why we're looking at what we're looking at now. And so you guys are kind of just going to help me with that. Yeah, the Titan, the freaking Titan. I just watched that damn video this morning, and I couldn't think of the damn name. Yeah, the submersible from Ocean Gate. Yes. He went through the transcripts, and they're not confirmed. They're not confirmed transcripts, but I think that they are. I think that they're the right ones. And it was really good. You guys need to check that out on his channel. Let me share this with you guys, just so you can see where I'm at and what I'm doing, and then you know what we're looking at today. I'm talking about the Captain Howdy. If one of my mods could drop his link, that would be great. It's dropped in the last live, but I want to make sure that you guys can see it, because like I said, it's put together really well. Hi, Ms. And the time, no, I didn't see that you put together a video of the times they were seen. Is it a short? I'll go grab it real quick. Let me go look. How did I not see that? Did you put it on your channel? No, because yeah, the last one I have is What's Good for the Goose. That's the last one I watched. Yeah, send it to me. Not on YouTube. Okay, that's probably why I didn't see it, because I'm like, I watch everything you put on YouTube. Yeah, so okay, so this is kind of what I was putting together, and I'm not even in the right screen, so let's back it up. Just so I have, because there's just so much to it, and then this would be accessible to anybody who actually wanted it anyway. It would make it, in my opinion, it's just easier. And I'm sure that there's probably things out there that are already like that, but I have to do them myself for my own brain. So it's just kind of interactive. You can kind of click around and kind of go where you want to. So this is kind of where we're at. So it's got, can you guys see it okay? Yeah. Just like it's the people in the timeline and just, you know, what we've got going on. Like I said, this isn't done, but you can go into like Libby's. Actually, let me go this way. So you like click on Libby, it'll take you to Libby, it'll take you to Carrie, and then in Carrie's we're putting in like all the links for every like channel that she's been on, and then you can just back out of it, and it goes into like her parents, so it kind of tells you like who everybody is. It'll have links to all the videos that they've been on, and then like their family members and so on and so forth. So like you can click on Derek, and it'll take you to Derek's family there, that way. So what I was working on, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this with you guys, is, hey, Deets, good to see you. How's the baby? So we're going through witnesses. So this is like really why I'm doing it. So I just click on the witnesses, and then I can go through and I can see, like, this is Sarah Carbaugh, this is, and then I'm going to put in there what she saw. And where I got to, like, you know, there's Bree's, and then Riley's. And it'll have all their photos. It can have any documents that we want, anything in there for each person. And then we can I'll clip out like the stuff from like the documents and click those in there too. So it'll be really easy for anybody who wants to come and look at it. And then here, like they said, it'll have a timeline, which is also interactive. It's not done, so there's nothing in here yet. But it'll have, you can go to the pictures. You can go to each picture on the timeline for each day. So we can put in all the pictures and everything that we have. And then this is empty still because I haven't done that one yet. He's getting fat and sassy, and we're loving every second. I love it. You can't really find it yet. You might actually be able to find it online. It's just a presentation app that I used back in the day for a couple different lives that my friend Christine actually turned me on to. And I really like it. It makes the flow really easy. And so like we go to Abby's, it's the same thing. You can go to Anna, and then you'll be able to go to like, you know, who that is. Or verbally, that is, verbally, yeah. So the reason I'm doing this is because I was going to go through the PCA and the memorandum and see what we got. Should be one pic and one video, and the video better have gone through because I don't have the patience today. Okay, I'll look at it. And then we can go through the searchers. So it has everybody that was searching and then what they found or what they say they found or what videos have that where. So that's where we're at. Yeah, that's this is the website. It's called Prezi Presentation. It's like presentation. Hey, 4 Pit Bulls. So, okay, so you have a video on the sketches. Let me pull that up. I closed my Facebook. Let me pull it up. Well, we can look at that. And then, but now you guys know like what we're looking for. So we're just looking for like the statements that are per law enforcement about each each sketch, each individual person that was there, what they said, when they saw, who they saw, when they saw them. Oh, it did. It did come through. Okay, let me download it. Okay, I did see this picture. I'll put that up there so you guys can see it. Thanks, BR. Computer illiterate, how do I find them? It's just prezi.com. I don't know if, I don't know. I'm sure there's a way for me just to share it when I'm done. Because it's not, like I said, it's not done yet, but just wanted you guys to have it. And I wanted to have it because, like I said, it's like all over the place. Everybody's, but then it also on the back end, I'll show you guys that too before we move on to the other stuff. So on the back end, I'm just trying to put together something so everybody can kind of see like who's connected to who, and this will be in there too. And so we'll do more spread out. Like we'll go to each of these people. So like people always ask like, how is Nick McClellan related to the girls and why is it a conflict of interest? So it'll kind of just map it all out for everybody. And I think it'll be easy. It should be easy to navigate. Or, you know, like who was married to who that ended up divorced and how that person ties into the next people and how everybody is. Malicious intent. Don't you even start. You're the one who does all the beautiful presentations on your channel. And that live last night was really good. It was a case I didn't really know anything about. Okay, so this Sleuthy put this together. This is cool. Okay, so this is actually a question I have, and I was going to ask you guys today, so I'm glad it's on here. So Riley's sketch, how do we know this is Riley's and not Daniel Pearson's? Because they both supposedly have a sketch. Hey, Mind of Monsters, good to see you. I like visuals too. Me too. Yeah, taking notes. Well, it has a timeline in there too, so it'll be. Let me just see if I can share it. I don't know if I can. It's got to be shareable, right? Create a new link. No, I don't want to do any of that. It should be easier to share. Maybe I have to do it not in here. I have to go back to edit mode. I don't want to do any of that. I'll figure it out, and I'll put it in the description when I'm done. Well, so this is where I struggle with that, Sleuthy, because I don't think that Daniel Pearson really changed his mind. I think he changed his mind based on what the sketches were, and so he was like, "Oh, if you guys are saying," because he at the beginning of this said that the guy he saw coming out of the woods and in onto where the junction for the two trails is. He says that it was an older gentleman, gray hair, whatever, and then he changes it later and says that it's not him, and it must have been flannel shirt guy because they put this sketch out, and they were like, okay, if it's this guy, he said that's not the guy I saw then. So I'm just really curious. And we also know that there's also a sketch out there of Mike Patty apparently too. Well, if you go by the index, his name McCain his has McCain next to it, right? Because he changed it. He changed it when this sketch came out in 2019. But before that, he was saying that he saw the older guy. So it probably is Riley's. I was just wondering what you guys thought about that. But it probably is Riley's because we know she also put a sketch in as well. You got Spock ears, Shane? I've got tiny ears. That's why I talk loud and I can't hear anything. So I tell everybody anyway. Hi, Tony. Could it have been 4 different guys? Well, it's so tough. There's the one thing that really stands out that matches in these 2 sketches to me, and it's the weird crooked nose thing. Like that whatever this is called on your nose. That's what it reminds me of. Like these 2, like they're both crooked, and then Richard Allen has that crooked thing on his nose. Yeah, until today. Yeah, so these top 2 have come out in this recent. Even though this one on the right, I swear I've seen that. I swear I've seen it in Facebook groups for a long time. But this one right here on the top left, I've never seen that until Art of Deduction showed it the other day. It would make sense to be Riley's, because what would make sense is that she and Betsy saw the same person. And they do look somewhat more similar. But from my understanding, Betsy said that this guy right here does resemble the guy that she saw to begin with. Is it deviated? Is that this? I thought the septum was up in the top of the nose. All right, let's look at Sleuthy's video. I have not watched this yet. So let's see that. If I can get it to pull up. Maybe. Oh, you put them all together. All right, let's see. Oh, those 2. If they saw the same guy, which would make sense with the crooked nose. That's interesting. I could see that being the same guy. I could see that. The overlap did it for you? Yeah, the eyebrow and the nose. The young guy has always bothered me. All the shirts. Don't people call that lower nose thing a septum piercing, though? Is it? I don't know. I'm not all hip to the lingo. Yeah, out for walks by themselves, especially. The other guy, the one that Teresa Liebert saw, is the one that I think, this one right here. This is the one that resembles Elvis Fields the most to me. The top right. They really are. But all of them were like adamant that the guy that they wrote about or they had drawn up was the right guy. And I just can't see that this guy in the top right definitely does not match any of these guys. There's certain things now with that, I could see that this younger guy matches Betsy's sketch, that maybe they saw the same guy. But that guy does not look like Richard Allen to me. Hey, Richie. Hey, Executive Sessions. But those could possibly be the same guy. And then this would be the guy walking down 300 North that's supposedly muddy, bloody, supposedly just muddy. Yeah, not to totally disagree, but I don't buy it. I take all of this with a grain of salt because who knows anything anymore. Abrams looks similar to the old BG sketch. This one. Yeah. This one also looks like Logan Maxwell. See? Then we're going to get back into the same thing. Of like that everybody sees, do a side by side and you can see all the details and throw in, a POI and we're like, all right, he matches this guy. You know what I mean? They're almost cartoonish compared. Well, one's done by the FBI and the other ones are all done by the sketch artist. But I don't see these guys being that similar. The hooded eye is really the only thing that I can match up here, is that hooded eye. But the eyewitnesses are just kind of unreliable to me at this point. So that's where I'm at with that. I don't know if I believe any of the things that they have to say. So that's why we're going to go through what they said. We're going to go through what they said, and we're going to go through what law enforcement and the defense team says they said. Okay. And then I want to show, where is it at? I think I have it over here. Have you guys watched, there's a channel, it's called Fig Solves, who put out a documentary that was supposed to have been released, but it didn't. They ended up trashing it and not actually putting it out. But it's by a lady named Hannah Shakespeare. I think most of you guys have all seen this or heard it. But one of the people she interviews is Riley. So we're gonna go listen to what Riley had to say. And then there's a podcast that actually talked to Bree, so we can listen to what Bree had to say. Let me see what you guys have to say. Yeah, the nose on Elvis is also really crooked. It's true. The right side's the band boy. Yeah, he does a good job. Okay, so we'll listen to what they had to say. And if you cannot hear it, please let me know before it gets too late so that I'm...
Audio recording of her would-be murderer just moments before her death. For reasons we may never know, Libby had the presence of mind to record her killer, and to this day, the evidence she provided is the best we may ever have. I need to know what happened in the woods that day.
You saw the bridge guy coming toward you. Isn't that weird?
When did the police reach out? Never. Law enforcement never contacted me.
Hold on, I didn't get there. I didn't get far enough.
Speak to me on camera.
Who committed this heinous crime?
Right now, we're going to see the one witness who saw bridge guy and is actually willing to speak to me on camera. It's a 18-year-old girl from Delphi.
And her eyewitness account helps law enforcement come up with the composite sketch they released to the public.
We believe this person is our suspect.
This teenage girl hasn't spoken to anybody about this case, not the media, not even anybody in the community. And I completely understand why. I mean, let's remind ourselves the killer is still at large. I'm very nervous this witness may not even show up. I mean, all I can do is hope. I don't see her. This girl is the only one that can place bridge guy on the location at a specific time and thereby set the entire crime flow to the murders. That's her.
Yeah, the old bridge guy sketch is done by the FBI. The other three sketches are done by Taylor D. Bryant. So yeah, the older sketch guy is, or the older sketch guy, the older bridge guy sketch is done by the FBI, which is why at the beginning we all kind of thought that it was a combination of things, I believe, and some even thought that it was based more off of the video taken on Labby's phone. God dang, why can't I talk? On Libby's phone.
It's nice to meet you. Can you walk me through the morning, the day, you guys went out there? So you're hanging out down there, and then you were walking away from Monon High Bridge, and
I'm gonna rewind it because I
the guy that we
put a comment up, and you have to read what
That's
she
her.
says. I won't make that mistake twice, hopefully.
It's nice to meet you. Can you walk me through the morning, the day, you guys went out there? So you're hanging out down there, and then you were walking away from Monon High Bridge, and you saw the guy that we now know to be bridge guy coming toward you. Yeah. A thing over his face? Isn't that weird? As a writer, timeline is always really important to me because it helps determine cause and effect of the crime.
I spoke with Libby and Abby's families to get a sense of what
So
the girls
the
were
interesting
doing
part
leading
here
up to their
is, so that young lady had talked to some of the locals, and if anybody's followed this case for a long time, you're going to know who I'm talking about. And he actually put a sketch out. Now, if I can find you the sketch. More describing what she said she saw, because she did agree that the picture of BG was, the old BG was the guy she saw, but she talked about how he had this on his face and how he had the layers on. So, I mean, does that mean that the layers get taken off later, that the mask gets taken off later, and that's why people see something different? Of course. But so this is what she described to him, that yes, that the first bridge guy, old bridge guy, was the right guy, but he had this over his face and more covered around his face. So then so this is not from the police. This is from Doug Rice, according to what she had stated to him. So it's just interesting too. So that is Riley's. Now let me pull up. I'm not going to play their whole episode, but they did put out like a little bonus clip. So it's called, if you guys haven't listened to it, it's called Scene of the Crime. It's a podcast. You can get it on any podcast, service that you have. So Scene of the Crime, and their first season is on Delphi. And so this is kind of wonky because it's like a bonus episode. So it's kind of just cut. It's cut from their interview with her. So some of it's repetitive, where they have her repeating like this, like what she's saying, so they can get a better like clip of it. So, but if you guys want to listen to the full interviews, you guys have to go to those channels to listen to them. Let me just get you some sound, maybe. Why is there no sound? Seriously? You gotta be kidding me. All right, I guess I'm not going to show you that one. Give me a second and I will find it again. I recorded it so I didn't have to have it straight from there, but that's not going to work.
And got to know Kelsey. I slowly got to know Libby and things we had in common.
Hopefully you guys can hear this one. So remember, this is kind
as I went over to Kelsey's house more and got to know Kelsey, I slowly got to know Libby and things we had in common. And then as I learned that, we grew a friendship. The only people that knew that I was going out to the trail were my family and the group of friends that I was going with. We were going out to the trails to just take pictures. It was a very nice day for February, so we thought we should go take some pretty pictures. Yes, I did go out to the trails that day. Me and a group of friends were going out to the trails to take some pictures since it was a very nice day in February. I don't remember specific times, but I do know we got out to the trails about late morning and we did leave early afternoon. Yes, I was definitely gone before the girls got there. My friends persuaded me to go to the trails that day. I'd only been out there a handful of times, so I knew it was a pretty place to take pictures. The only people that knew I was going out there were my family and the group of friends I was going with. My morning was pretty relaxed. I got up and my dad decided it was going to be a cleaning day, so we started cleaning the house. Nothing extreme happened. We cleaned the house, and then I decided that I wanted to go out with a group of friends, and that is where we decided to go. I did not post on social media that I was going to the trail. Once we got there, I did take a picture of the bridge and post it up to my Snapchat, but I did not put a caption with it. Since I'm not originally from Delphi, I'd only been out to the bridge a handful of times. I've only gone out to the bridge with people that are from Delphi and know exactly what the bridge is. I'm not from Delphi, so I've only been out to the bridge a handful of times. And every time I've been out there, it's always been with a group of people that is from Delphi so that they know what they're doing. I am not originally from Delphi, so I've only been out to the bridge a handful of times. Every time I go out there, I go out with a group of people that are from Delphi and have been out to the bridge more than me. Every time that I've been out to the bridge, I've never had a problem with anyone or no one's made me nervous. The only people that I've really seen out there when I'm there are people my age or people that I know. After Kelsey had dropped off the girls at the bridge, I was already back home, and Kelsey came over to my house, and then we went out to eat, and once we got back, that is when I found out about the girls. I was not involved with the search. I did sit with Kelsey at the station to comfort her. I was not involved in the search specifically. After a while, I did go sit with Kelsey at the police station and comfort her as more information came in. I went to school the next day, and it was probably about lunchtime, a little bit before lunchtime, that my dad had called me out of school and told us to go to Kelsey's grandpa's house. And then kind of at that point, I knew, but it was probably a little bit after 12 in the afternoon that I truly found out what had happened. After the word had gotten out about the girls, there was definitely some tension. I don't know if it was just me that I knew specifically who the girls and that I was so connected with it, or if it was everyone, but I could tell people were being more caring for each other. People were helping each other out. People were watching over each other. But people were also kind of keeping to themselves. The hallways were very quiet when people would walk through. You can tell people were trying to watch what they were doing or what they were saying. Me and a group of friends were going out to the trails to take some pictures since it was a very nice day in February. I do know we got out to the trails about late morning, and we did leave early afternoon. Every time that I've been out to the bridge, I've never had a problem with anyone or no one's made me nervous. The only people that I've really seen out there when I'm there are people my age or people that I know.
Okay. Let me get rid of this real quick. Let me talk about some of those points. So I try to put them in chat so you guys could hear why I thought it was important. But she talks about that her and Kelsey went out to eat. Kelsey doesn't ever say they went out to eat. She says that she went back to her boyfriend's house and was watching a movie with his dad when her boyfriend went to work, and she gets ready for work. That we know Bree is the boyfriend's sister. So the timing of all of this is really, really off. She says she went out to eat with Kelsey, or anybody else that's added in. Who else went to lunch? I don't know, but that they went to lunch. And then when she comes back is when they find out the girls were missing. But according to Kelsey, she was watching a movie and the phone was ringing. She had it on the charger, and that's when she gets the missed call from her grandma, Becky. And the second time it calls, she knows. This is also a weird statement, but whatever. I'm not going too far down this rabbit hole on this live. She gets the second call and knows it must be important since she's called twice, but I'm not sure how she knew she called twice. She just didn't notice the first time. I don't know. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. But Bree is saying they went to lunch, got back. That's when they found out the girls were missing. She doesn't go to help search, but she does go later to hang out with Kelsey at the police station. But she does not give a statement that day. She gives a statement later. The statement that when we get into the documents here in a minute, you're going to see the statement she gives is in 2020. Not that day. But she's at the police station with Kelsey. Make that make sense. So, and we also know that she's saying that she took pictures of the bridge and she posted them to Snapchat. Ironic? Just a coincidence? Maybe, probably, but still interesting. Now, this is also a big deal to me, is that she talks about the day that she found out. The next day she went to school. Her dad got her out of school before noon. And she knew what was going on. She knew what had happened, but she didn't know for sure yet. And then a little bit after 12, she finds out what happened. How the hell does she know a little bit before 12? How does the dad know before 12? Does that make sense to anybody else? This is Bree Wilbur. Yeah, not good. It's not good. It's just not good. It's very, very odd. Which one's telling the truth? Did they go out to eat? If they went out to eat, where did they go? How does Bree know that they found the girls before they found the girls? Because they don't find the girls till 12:15, according to what we're being told. How does she know what happened? How does the dad know what happened to call her and get her out of school before lunch? Somebody's lying. That's for sure. A little after 12. Well, that's when she said she knew for sure, was a little after 12. She knew for sure a little after 12, but I mean, that's when they found him, is a little after 12. Right, I was saying that the whole thing's on. Kelsey missing phone call makes sense because iPhone do not disturb, or non-contacts need to call 2 times. Non-contacts need to call 2 times in a row to get through. Just a guess, but that's her grandma. She has her grandma on do not disturb. Hey, just Deb. So just interesting bits of information. Where does that take us? I don't know, but they have I think it's 6 episodes. Let me see how many it is. It's not a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 7 episodes on their podcast with Delphi. It's definitely worth a listen, and I think you'll find some tidbits if you have not listened to this podcast yet that you aren't going to find other places. So that's a suggestion. And then if you want to listen, if you haven't already, which I think probably anybody who's followed Delphi has, watched the documentary on Fig Solves with Hannah Shakespeare. And then he does an interview with her after that's also very interesting. So you should watch both of those. Yeah, rabbit hole. The scene of the crime. And it'll be in my description too. I have it up. I have it up on Spotify. I mean, I can share it with you guys, but it'll be from Spotify, because that's where I listen to it, but it's available on any podcast place. So, but if you have not listened to it, I think it is a must listen to if you are into the Delphi case. So those 2 things I wanted to bring up, and then we can start talking about some of the documents, because things get even screwier. I just don't know how this is going to hold up in court. I really don't. Let's actually start with the first versions from law enforcement. So, did they go to lunch? Did they not go to lunch? Why doesn't Bree tell the cops that night, hey, I was at the trails today? I have no answers for all of that stuff. But this is why they're this is why we don't talk, because then people critique everything we say. And it's well, just tell the damn truth. It won't be that hard. Yeah. And that's why I said it's repetitive, because it's a bunch of the outtakes. That's just the bonus episode but if you go listen on just the regular podcast, you're going to be able to hear all the actual interviews. So these are outtakes, and that's why it's very repetitive. They're having her repeat it for the sound to be better or whatever reason. So, all right, let's go. We're going to go through what the cops have to say. This is the search warrant. And I'm not going to go through the whole search warrant because I'm actually going to do a live either tomorrow or Monday. I'm not sure because I may have something else to come live about tomorrow. Maybe Monday. Someday this coming week, we're going to do a live where we're going to go back through all of the Richard Allen documents, and we're going to try to prove that he's guilty. I know that sounds interesting, but we're going to go through all the evidence that we have that points to Richard Allen's guilt, and we're going to go through that. So I'm not going to read through all this because we're going to be doing that anyway. So first, we're just using these documents today to go through what the cops say about the witness statements and why these guys, their stories just do not match. I knew you guys were going to laugh at that. We're going to prove that Richard Allen's guilty by all the evidence that we have. That's what we're going to do. We're going to prove it to ourselves or not. We'll see. Okay. So, I'm gonna read straight through this, and this obviously we've read through these 100 times, but I'm gonna read straight through it so that we can, if you guys hear points or see points that you think are important that need to be talked about remember, we're looking at it as just the witnesses. So we should have a mock trial. Oh geez. I don't know if anybody here would play the prosecutor. I don't know if anybody wants to be McClelland. So just look at it from the points of what the witnesses, what they're saying the witnesses said. So that's what we're going to be doing. On Monday, February 13th, 2017, at approximately 1:50 p.m., Abigail Williams and Liberty German were dropped off by a family member at the Monon High Bridge Trail off of County Road 300 North. On Tuesday, February 14th, 2017, at approximately 12:17 p.m., the girls were found deceased. That's a pretty accurate time to be approximate, but we'll see. On Tuesday, February 14th, 2017, 12:17, the girls were found deceased. Their bodies were located in the woods northeast of the Monon High Bridge. Autopsy of the girls ruled their deaths as homicides, and their wounds were caused by a sharp object. Investigators located Liberty German's iPhone 6S under her body at the scene and were able to recover a video approximately 43 seconds in length captured at 2:13 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. The video depicts Abigail walking on the Monon High Bridge toward Liberty while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. Near the end of the video, the man is heard in the video telling the girls, "Down the hill. Down the hill." Through further investigation of the location of the bodies, investigators also located a .40 caliber unspent round. They also determined that articles of clothing from the girls were missing from the scene, including a pair of underwear and a sock. Through the investigation, there were interviews done with 3 of the 4 girls that were on the trails that day. The girls observed a male on the trails on February 13th, 2017 that matched the description the male in the video recorded by Liberty German. The 3 girls, identified as Riley, Bree, and Anna, encountered this male near a bench east of the Freedom Bridge. The girls were on the trail and were walking towards the Freedom Bridge to go home. The male they encountered was walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. One of the 3 girls, identified as Anna, described the male as an older man walking on the trails as they were leaving, and she described him as kind of creepy. In a text from Anna to Kyla, Anna described the man as wearing light blue jeans, like a really light blue jacket. His hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. There was a witness who describes seeing 2 girls, though one is wearing what Kelsey was. Maybe anyone who thought they saw Abby and Libby, it was actually Kelsey and Bree on the trail. It's an interesting point. So 7 kids, Delphi, Flora 4, Maya Thompson, 3 police officers dead, 1 cocktailed and shot outside of a police station, 1 died in a home fire, 1 self-delete allegedly, And then you have Bill and Peggy Stevenson. Yeah. Yeah. I think in your law enforcement, I think you might be talking about the polygraph lady too. You put her in there. Sounds like Ron Logan. So, all right. Let me go through. Let me go back over here so we're keeping track of what's being said. So Anna says that he's wearing like blue jeans, a really light blue jacket. His hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. Okay. Take note of that. Then you have investigator Steve Bowen and Brett Ingram interviewed Anna, and she described the male as wearing a blue jacket and light blue faded blue jeans. The jacket was a canvas duck type jacket. Now, that's all Anna. Now, Riley was also in the group of 4 girls, and she said that she said hi to the man, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black. So Riley was the one that we just heard from on the documentary on Fig Solves. We didn't actually hear from her. We had to read what she said because they cut out her voice. But she recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. Riley recalled telling her sister that someone was in a grumpy mood. She went on to describe him as not very tall and bigger build. She said that he was not bigger than 5'10". Riley went on to say in an interview that he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She said that he had his hands in his pockets. So, just for clarification purposes, we do believe that, oh shit, where did it go? That this is the sketch that's from Riley. Is that confirmed? No, but I am leaning that way. So this is the sketch of the man she says she saw. This is what she described according to Doug Rice. This is what she described. I mean, it's not far off. Yeah, all black. He's wearing all black. I mean, I could see some similarity with the face covering. Let me see what you guys are saying. Always heard, well, you probably will hear that coming up here because other witnesses will say his hair is a different color. So, FYI, this is the sketch that we do believe is from Riley. Okay, now we're going to talk to Bree. An interview was conducted with Bree in 2020. Remember, she's at the police station the night of the 13th. She's at the police station the night of the 13th. There's an interview that's conducted with her in 2020, 3 years later. She was able to show investigators a picture that she took on her phone of the Monon High Bridge with the timestamp of 12:43. There's your picture of the bridge at 12:43. Bree showed investigators another picture she took at the bench just east of the Freedom Bridge when they were leaving at 1:26 p.m. Bree stated after she took the picture at the bench, they started walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. Bree stated that's when she walked past the man who matched the description of the individual in the picture. Now this is interesting. What picture? Right? What picture? Detective Liggett believes the picture that she from the video Liberty captured on her cell phone on the day of the murders. But he doesn't know for sure. Doesn't bother to ask. Bree described the man as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She stated the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath the jacket. Bree advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She stated her head came up to approximately his shoulder. Bree told us that Riley said hi to the man and he said nothing back. Bree described the man as walking with purpose, like he knew where he was going. Bree also stated the man had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She didn't get a good look at his face, but believed he was a white male. What happened to the 2017 interview? That's a great question. Let's see in the documents if there's anything that pops up, because I don't recall there being. Let me just double check, though. And no, not that one. Where's the dang one with the interviews? Not that one. It's this one. So they have on the 15th, they talked to Anna. She's one of them, right? We've got her description. They talked to Evan Fritz, which I'm hearing through YouTube streets is that there is that people think that he's the Young Bridge guy or the guy that Teresa Liebert possibly saw. I don't know where that's coming from, so I can't say one way or the other, yes or no. Here, 8/27/2020, Bree Wilbur at the marshal's office. No, nope. I don't see anything there. Yeah, Riley says in that video she just waved at him. We don't have an interview in 2017, so we have no idea what she would have said then. But in the PCA, which would be, in my opinion, they would probably use the interview that is, where did I get that list? That's the list that was dropped to Brandon Woodhouse. People want to do a mock trial. Okay, you tell me who's playing the prosecutor. Can't all be the defense attorneys around here. So yeah, so the defense team back, the leak was when the defense attorneys accidentally emailed Brandon Woodhouse and they sent him a list. It's called a thumb drive map. So it's just essentially tells them like what they have, what the defense team has received so far in accordance to discovery. It doesn't have all the pictures and stuff in it. From what I'm understanding, it's just that. So there's a bunch of different screenshots that have floated around. So I tried to grab all of them that I possibly could. You could be the prosecutor. Yeah, I don't think so. So I think you'd have to be on the defense team. So, okay, where are we at? Thought it was a white male. Okay, so this is Bree. As the girls left, they crossed the Freedom Bridge and the railroad bridge over SR 25, an individual by the name of Betsy Blair. So this is now we're going to get into Betsy Blair. Was returning to the trails to finish her walk, which I also find very interesting. That she was coming back to finish her walk. Hi, Flora 4 Foundation. So she like started her walk earlier in the day and then like came and then left and went home or went somewhere else and then decided to come back and finish her walk. I don't know. That's just a weird statement to me, but it probably is nothing. It's just odd. So she went back to the trails to finish her walk. So Betsy Blair is seen on the video at the Hoosier Harvest Store 300 North traveling eastbound to the trailhead to park at 1:46 actual time. These are things that are going to come into play when we go through a very clear timeline, because Kelsey also says that when she dropped the girls off, there was nobody there. There was nobody at the trailhead. There was no cars, no nothing. Well, if she got there at if Kelsey got there at 1:49 to drop off the girls, then Betsy Blair would have been there at 1:46. Oh, C. King could totally be. She could totally be the prosecutor. That's true. Yeah, finish her walk. It's weird. So then that would mean that that Kelsey would have had to have seen a car. And then later on, there comes the whole black SUV with the stickers on it. So like, is that Betsy Blair's car? Is that somebody else's car? Because the only reason I think that that's really important is if all these people saw different people, if they don't all see, they're not all seeing the same person, I don't know how they're saying who actually killed the girls. And I also don't know how they're saying that that has to be the person that's in that picture when they're not clarifying what fucking picture they're talking about. Oh, he just assumes that she's talking about the picture from Libby's phone. Well, why not just ask? It's so irritating to me. Ask the question. What picture are you referring to? It's not that damn complicated. Hold on, I got a message. Okay. Okay, so now we have Betsy Blair, who's driving. She's seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera at 146. And we've talked about this too. So what were the girls, this group of girls, doing from 126 where they see Bridge Guy? Why does it take them almost 20 minutes to walk across Freedom Bridge? But they're not saying that they did anything while they were there. They didn't take any more pictures here. What were they? Why did it take almost 20 minutes before Betsy Blair saw them over here walking from here to here? That's another big question I have. Where were they at? What were they doing? Where were they parked? Where did they walk? Did they see anybody else walking? That's the only person they saw. The only person they saw on the trails that day where it was busy is this one weird guy. See, I only go back to the part of the video / audio that we haven't heard. The continuity of that has to lead them to eventually believe that, because at first they don't even say that. Law enforcement won't even confirm that it is the same guy. They're like, we're not saying it's the guy. We're not even saying it's the same guy. They made it very clear they were not going to put that in stone. That only became put in stone by law enforcement after Richard Allen's arrest. But they kind of started like, oh, it could be the guy. Could be the guy. So I'm just in my brain, I think, is there something else that makes them believe that this is the same person? Because supposedly the guys down the hill part, which we don't even know if that's mixed up, but we're going to go with it that it's the same, is not, that's later. That's not on video. That's on audio. So yeah, so what were they doing for 20 minutes to get across? But, I guess that part doesn't really matter. And who else did they see that day? They only saw this guy. I mean, I guess that's all they're going to put in here. But as a defense attorney, I'm going to be like, well, who else did you see? Because are they the ones that saw the guy walking the dog? See, neither here nor there again, because we don't have an answer. This is Betsy Blair. Betsy saw the girls walking above as she went under the railroad bridge. On September 21st of 2022, Liggett was provided a tip narrative from Orion, and it was from, this is stupid, it was from DNR Lieutenant Dan Doolin. The narrative was as follows. Mr. Allen was on the trails between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, it's not necessarily new news, but it has been brought back to light on a lot of channels as of late. The fact that the Farm Bureau building is down the road about a mile and then walks towards the Freedom Bridge, it could very well be that the guy did park at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. Do I think that he probably walked that much? Probably not, but you never know. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He says he saw 3 females, not 4. He doesn't say he saw 4 females. He saw 3. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. Okay. That's the majority of the population. He did not remember a description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead, that there were vehicles parked there. However, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video, and his cell phone doesn't come up. I'm going back to you guys. See what you guys have. See what you guys are saying. One of these witnesses would have seen that the little guy that works at the pharmacy. The little guy. Oh, who's that little guy at the pharmacy? Hey, Momo Shark. Kids also lie and do commit unalivings. It's very true. They saw no gun, and half the people who heard the audio never heard the girls say gun or gun cock. Okay, and why not release the video? Why not release the audio? And is releasing the audio going to change the outcome of the trial? I don't think so. I know that there was a cigarette butt that was found near there. I don't know if it was really next to the girls. I don't recall that, but I do recall on the scanner they talk about that there was a cigarette butt, and the guy says that it was like within a couple of days old. It had to have only been there for a day or two. A woman walking her dog was supposedly another one. There's a guy that was walking his dog. What the hell is that guy's name? There's a guy that was walking his dog closer to Freedom Bridge, I believe. I'll have to get more details on it before I speak too much, unless somebody else in chat knows what I'm talking about. I doubt they have more of him speaking, as they could have used it, but might have the gun cocking and girls' fear. Well, Shane, in one of the things, they say that they have him saying gun. In one of the documents, they will say he had a gun. You can hear him say gun. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe that's how they knew there was a gun. I don't know. As far as asking friends and coworkers the entire video audio and asking who is this. So, the car out there at CPS looked like Mike's Patty's old Chrysler. Chrysler and Comet look a lot alike. Well, we have like 4 different cars out there, and none of them were. Nobody ever said it looks like a Ford Focus or a Ford anything. I do. He went to his daughter's wedding. Yeah, that's the place where the ironic, right? Orion, yes. Yeah, she said she came up to the guy's shoulders. Mm-hmm. I believe he did, yes. This isn't even a confusing part yet. Wasn't it said early on there were over 20-something people on the trails and it was busy? Bree's brother looks like young bridge guy. Was he there? No, supposedly he didn't go. Supposedly he went to work. She called in late. Kelsey calls in late to work and he went to work. And that's why she was still hanging out there after he went to work. And so, he doesn't leave work to go search. But remember, and they've all pretty much stated this, that when the girls were first missing, nobody really thought they were in danger. Nobody really thought there was an issue until it was dark, and it got much later. And then they were like, Libby doesn't like the dark. So that's when things became a different feeling for the family. I think at first they all just thought they were all going to be in trouble and they were going to do something wrong. So Kelsey went and looked around for a little bit, and then she went to work. I think they were just trying to link Bridge Guy to the bullet, because after they searched Richard Allen's house, they collected bullets. First time gun is ever mentioned in a PCA for arrest. That's right. None of the other search warrants that we've seen so far have anything to do with that. Oh, that's an interesting point. Okay. Where are we at? There's no old Farm Bureau building anywhere close to the trails or bridges. Detective Liggett believes he is referring to the old the old Child Protective Services building. And you know what? Here's another prime example of just ask the damn question. Liggett, don't stop just assuming what people are saying and just ask them. What building are you referring to? Here's a map, mark it down. Where did you park? It's really simple. In 2017, Richard Allen owned a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Upon review of video collection from the Hoosier Harvest Store on February 13th, 2017, investigators were able to locate a vehicle that appears to match Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the video at 1:27. That's the actual time. This coincides with Allen saying he was at the trails around 1:30. Here we go. He was there around 1:30. Not that he got there. It doesn't say he got there at 1:30, that he was there at around 1:30. Detective Liggett then examined the timeline for the day of the homicides. As previously said above, Riley, Brianna, and Anna were leaving the trails and passed by a male matching the description of the male in the video taken by Liberty. Given the statements by Allen at the timestamp of the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store and the statements from the 3 of the 4 girls, Detective Liggett believes, once again, it's just Mr. Liggett believes, that the male the 3 girls saw was in fact Richard Allen. Not for sure, though. This is one of the things when we go, and I'm going to play devil's advocate when we go through and talk about why Richard Allen's guilty, because this is a prime example of why people believe he is guilty. He saw 3 girls, 3 girls saw him. Has to be him. Allen stated that after he passed the girls and then he walked to the Monon High Bridge and saw nobody else, he doesn't see anybody else. Investigators believe that after passing the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:46, that Blair parked at the trailhead entrance across from the Mears residence. In her interview, she says there are no other cars at the trailhead entrance at the time. She walked to the Monon High Bridge and a male matching the male from Liberty's video. She described him as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. This matches the blue duck canvas jacket that Anna describes, but it doesn't match the jacket that Bree or Riley describes. But whatever, we're going to go ahead and bypass that as long as it matches Anna. Blair said that the male was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet away from her. Blair turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. Approximately halfway between the bridge and the main hub of trails, she passed 2 girls walking toward the high bridge. Blair said that she believed it was Libby and Abby. At 1:49 on the Hoosier Harvest Store video, there is a white car that matches Kelsey German's description or vehicle description. Liberty and Abigail would have been dropped off right before this video. Blair finished her walk and is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store video leaving westbound at 2:14. Blair said that she saw no adults other than the male on the bridge. As Blair was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Service building. She said it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but it was odd that it was backed in near the building. She said that vehicles often use the south edge of the parking lot so they are closer to the trail to get to the Freedom Bridge. Liggett reviewed a tip from Terry Wilson. Wilson was on his way to Delphi on February 13, 2017, on the Hoosier Heartland Highway at approximately 2:10. He observed that he described that what he described as a purple PT Cruiser, or a small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. Wilson said that it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. During their interviews, both Blair and Wilson drew a diagram and the vehicle they saw parked in the same general area and manner. An interview was done of Sarah Carbaugh in 2017. She states that she was traveling east on 300 North and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from Monon High Bridge. She stated that he was wearing a blue colored jacket, blue jeans, and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators determined from the video that she was on 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. All right, let's see what you guys think so far now. Yeah, what makes him believe it? Yeah, why does he believe it? Just ask the question. It should be very simple. They waited until 2020 to interview Bree so she would have BG video in mind from the news. And not to mention that all of her friends are talking about it now. So how reliable her witness statement would be the most unreliable, I think, of anybody. Yeah, the newly elected sheriff, correct. The remains of my... Whoa. Is that like recent, Carla? Holy crap. Surprised they never called Abby's home to check if they were there. They immediately went into panic mode. Well, according to one interview with Becky, Becky says she actually left and drove over to Anna's house, and they weren't there. So we'll go through that when we go through all of the interviews, because I have all of those lined up to go through as well. But one of them, she says that she left and went to Anna's house, but Anna was already at work, and so she was calling Anna, but Anna wasn't picking up. And then Anna ended up, and I think she was going to drive to her work, and then Anna ended up calling her when she was on her way to, when Becky was driving towards her work. Oh, Stella. I just really wish that we had a trial coming up here soon. The autopsy photos are not out in the public, no. What drives me crazy is that if RA is the killer, they had him in the beginning, they just didn't see him for some reason. No, they didn't see him. They didn't see him the whole time. And then some people will tell me that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they didn't see him. And to me, it does matter, because if you are creating a fall guy, you have to create a fall guy around somebody who was there. And I'm not saying they are creating a fall guy, because I honestly don't know. That's why I can't let this go, is because I can't figure out one way or the other what I think actually went down here. But if you're going to create a fall guy, you're not going to go get the guy that was at work in Lafayette, let's just say. He's not a good fall guy. He's got an alibi. So let's go through the old tips and see who was all there and which one would work out the best as a fall guy. I mean, right? So that's why it's important to me. They asked for the people to come forward if they were there that day. This is what happens when you are honest. He's been in prison for 4 years. Yeah, he'll be in prison for 4 years. Yep. Yeah, including her best friend. So she's 2 years, 3 years later, she's already got so much information in her brain that nothing she says is accurate. And if you go back to what Riley was saying, she's really the only one that was talking to him. She's the only one that really looked at him. The other girls were kind of doing their own thing. So Riley's would be the one that's actually the most important of any of them. You can be tied up super. Yeah, they can get you really easy. Kelsey stopped looking after an hour. Is that not weird? Well, I have so many weird things. I know. And I don't want to. I keep saying like I'm reserving my thoughts on a lot to do with the story, because as I've been trying to download these and put them together for everybody, there's so much inconsistency in the stories that I'm like, sometimes that happens if you're not honest, obviously, but two, it happens if you're trying to push a narrative that law enforcement is telling you to put out. If you are the face of the family and let's just say Lesenby's like, hey, this is a bit of information now, we want this out there, or hey, we don't want that out there. So they're conforming their stories around what they're supposedly supposed to release. Is that possible? Is that why we're getting all of the the inconsistencies. Is it a bad memory? Is there something else to it? I don't know. Yep, witnesses, the pest control, Brad Heath. Yep, and his statement is missing. We don't know what he said. The only thing that he said that we know of is that he was like, I felt really bad because I was there. I was so close to everything when it happened. That's also a weird one. And the McCain brothers. I know that the one McCain was there, but the other one is said to be there riding his bike all the time. So I don't know. But that's flannel shirt guy. And so we're going to talk about that too, because let me go back to my map real quick. This is where I struggle with this whole guy coming out of the trees thing and Daniel Pearson. And so between 3:10 and 3:15, Daniel Pearson is supposedly walking towards the bridge, right? He's walking towards the bridge, and he's with one of the girls. I don't remember which one. It's either the girlfriend or the other girl. I don't remember which one it's supposed to be that he's arguing with at that point. He's walking towards the bridge. He sees the guy come out of the bushes and onto the trail at about 3:10, 3:15. Now, at the same time, so he's walking this way, and he's arguing with whomever he's arguing with, walking towards the bridge. Now, flannel shirt guy is walking west. He's walking this way, according to the statements. And then you have Derek, Libby's dad, who comes to pick him up, and he's coming this way, and he runs straight into flannel shirt guy. And he's like, hey, did you see anybody at the bridge? And he's like, yeah, I saw the couple over here arguing at the bridge. Or actually, it's down here further. I saw the couple arguing over by the bridge. So if Daniel Pearson saw flannel shirt guy over here by the bridge, why would flannel shirt guy be walking back through here and then popping out at the trailhead at the same time? Does that make sense to anybody? Because I can't figure that out. Like, you can't see him here and see him here at the same time. You have to, you either saw them down at the bridge. That's what makes me, did he actually see flannel shirt guy, McCain, or did he see something else? I'm still not done with that one yet. Yeah, no, Bree was at the police station. She even said, yeah, she says, I went to the police station with Kelsey that night to comfort her or whatever. How many vehicles in Delphi case? Gray Hughes investigates live phone interview witness. Abandoned CPS building. 300 North, just past the building on the side of the road. Is there another part to that comment? Or is this the interview? Gray Hughes investigates live phone interview witness number 1. Oh, okay. In June. I got you. I'm not reading it correctly. Okay, that's the name of his live. Okay. Did she go back out there? Because I don't remember that. I don't remember her going back out there. That's a Dr. Pepper. It is a Dr. Pepper, Shmita. Did I miss a super chat where somebody gave me money for a Dr. Pepper? Oh, for a pack of Dr. Pepper. Thank you, Velvet Underground. Because she didn't. She didn't see him. I don't think she saw him. I think that she's making up that she saw him. Oh, for sure. I will. Yeah. Yeah, I love me a good Dr. Pepper. Okay, so anyway, so I'm just very confused on the timing of this, and I'm trying to figure that out because you can't see flannel shirt guy if flannel shirt guy's over here, and flannel shirt guy's still walking this way, and you already saw him over here. And then Derek sees him here. You can't have both. So I just don't see how he actually saw flannel shirt guy. That's my thought, and for now I'm sticking to it. All right, where were we at? Purple PT Cruiser. Sarah Carbar, Muddy Bloody. It appeared that he had gotten into a fight. Investigators determined from the video that she was on 300 North at 3:57 p.m. But yet they do not get him on the Hoosier Harvest Store. The guy that she sees walking on 300 North is not seen on that camera. Otherwise, you know that would be here. We saw a guy walking down the street who looked muddy and bloody. Richard M. Allen was interviewed by the investigators on October 13th, 2022 at the investigation center. He was interviewed by none other than Detective Liggett and Carroll County Prosecutor Investigator Steve Mullen. He agreed to come to the center and speak with the investigators. He was advised of his rights and was further advised that he was not under arrest and was free to leave at any time. Investigator Mullen explained to him how to leave the center if he so desired. He stated that he was in fact on the trails on February 13th, 2017. He further stated that he saw 3 girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge, and also that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. He also told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood on that day. He stated he was also wore some type of head covering. He further claimed he saw no one else but the 3 girls, and he observed east of the Freedom Bridge. Further, prior to the interview, he told investigators that he also had guns at the home. Okay, now I want to go back here for a second. There's nothing in this statement that talks about what he was wearing. He parked at the old Firm Bureau building he was at three females. He noted one was taller, black hair. He did not remember a description, nor did he speak to him. He walked the Freedom Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker. He stated there was a vehicle parked at the High Bridge Trail. He doesn't state what he's wearing. You guys, that's the original tip that he comes in and says in 2017. He does not say he's wearing the same clothes. So now, in his interview in October of 2017, wherever the hell that went on here, how did I lose it? Well, where the hell did it go? There it is. He does not say that he was actually, now he's saying what he was actually wearing. But he never actually said it before. So this is my comment to all the comments I get about, but he said he was there, and he said that he was wearing the exact same thing that the guy on the bridge was wearing. And I'm like, okay, well, he didn't actually say he was there then. In the new interview, he says he was there from 12:30 to 1:30. Well, it's like, of course. Well, now he knows the time frame, and he knows that he's on video, so he has to change the time. He's lying. Very simple, right? Well, then my question becomes, you probably already know what the flippin' bridge guy was wearing. Why do you go to your new interview and tell them that you're wearing the same clothes? You're going to lie about the time you were there, but you're going to go ahead and just be completely honest. And I was wearing the exact same clothes as bridge guy. I can't make sense of that. If I'm going to go in there and I'm going to lie, I don't have to. I can go in there and say I was wearing a purple fucking jacket. Why would he go in there and tell the truth about what he was wearing, but lie about the time he was wearing it? I don't know if he's innocent. Well, here's the bottom line: is right now he is innocent. He's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and I'll stick by that. And I'll stick by that no matter what I think of the evidence. And I stick by that even with Brian Koberger, who I think is the guy. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to put the pieces together to make it make sense one way or the other. I do not see this as I know that there's people who see it very black and white, and it's like, nope, this is the guy. Nope, this isn't the guy. You can come here and say that he is the guy, and I'm going to go, you're probably right. You can come here and say he's not the guy, and I'm going to go, you're probably right, because I don't know. I don't have an opinion. But why does he lie about the time, but then he's honest about what he's wearing? He can tell them he's wearing anything. He could have been wearing nothing. I went there, I was naked. He could have said whatever the hell he wanted to. But why does he go there and tell them he's wearing exactly what the bridge guy's wearing? Hi, Kelly. I've taken the BG video out of the equation at this point. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way too. Because they will be able to tell he didn't have his phone watching the stock ticker. Much more believable that he left it at home for an hour. I think so too. I think so too. And I think that, but by this point, that's another great question I have. And that's why I said I'm proposing these questions to you guys, because this is, if you want me to think he's innocent or you want me to think he's guilty, and you probably don't even care what I think, but I need some of these things taken care of. In this 5.5 years that it took them to get to him, right? They would have already figured out whose cell phones and what cell phones were in that area. They would have already known that. So they would have easily been able to match it to him. That's my first opinion. My second opinion, if you go the opposite route of that, and when we get into the memorandum, if the depositions, and they're quoted and they're used as evidence for the memorandum, so I'm leaning towards that's accurate. They state that there is no electronic evidence that ties him to this. So does he leave his phone at home? Can they figure out? Is that even something that they could go back and figure out at this point if they didn't already do it? And we know they screwed up shit at the beginning of this. Can they even go back to the beginning and say, well, was this phone in the area between 12:30 and 1:30? Is that possible? Do they have that data, or did they not even bother to pull it? Oh, yeah, I know we went through that too. And I got quite a few comments like, Ron Logan isn't the guy. Leave him alone. Leave Ron Logan alone. Who passed? Sorry, I missed that. I'm unbiased on whether he is or isn't. Yeah, I just don't have a feeling either way on his guilt. I don't either. I don't have one. I can't pick. One witness saw him walking toward the bridge at 1:30, so he definitely wasn't leaving at 1:30 like claimed. What witness saw him? One witness saw him walking toward the bridge at 1:30. Which one? Who? How did he not know about the video, King? That's what I don't get. He had to have known about the video. This interview is in October 13th of 2022. The video had been out there for 5 years. Yeah, the basic Indiana dad uniform. He didn't have to tell them what he was wearing. He didn't have to tell them that he was wearing anything like that. Who passed? Can somebody tell me who passed away? Unless she was at work. She could have been at work. Bye, Richie. His cell phone should be able to corroborate his whereabouts and when. I bet his defense has this information, and that is why they know he's innocent. That's possible too, but they don't put that in the memorandum. That would be something that'd be like, look, here he is at home on his phone at 1:50. So that could go either way. The phone stuff can go either way. How could he be using cellular data on stocks when his iPhone had no IMEI? I don't know enough about that stuff to be able to answer that question. I can look into it. The guy then girls see isn't RA given the height references. One come up to the guy's shoulder, she was BW and at least 5'4", and the other girls say no more than 5'10", so definitely not talking about RA. Right. Well, they don't even have the same description of the guy because they're eyewitnesses. And I'm not mad at them for not having the same description. It's just, that's pretty common. But how do we know they saw him? Like, we're acting like Richard Allen's the only guy that was out at the trails. Like, nobody else could be at the trails that day. He didn't repeat what he said, though. I just read to you what was on the only thing that was on there. I just read it to you. This is what Detective Liggett was provided a tip narrative from Orion. It was from DNR Lieutenant Dan Doolin. The narrative was as follows. Copy paste. Dun dun dun. Does not say what he was wearing. He did not tell them what he was wearing. There's nothing about what he was wearing. He easily could have changed his story. And, 5.5 years later when he's being interrogated, like, what were you wearing that day? I don't fucking know what the hell I was wearing. People keep telling me that. People say, well, because he already told them what he was wearing, but he didn't. I'm reading it to you. He didn't. They did not know what he was wearing until October 13th of 2022. Yeah, they don't say they saw someone that looked like the BG photo video. Ellie refers to RA, nor do the girls. Well, they keep saying that they match the picture. We believe she's talking about the picture. We don't ask her if she's talking about the picture. We just believe she is. He had been recorded. But there's no recording. You're saying he had been recorded and he knows that's what he told them, so he stuck with it? Because he thought he'd been recorded and didn't know the recording was lost? That's possible. And he's like, I already know what I told him, so I'm going to tell him the same thing. Hey, Boo Sheet. RA's defense attorney's actions are almost evidence for me that he's innocent. They would have to be some pretty stupid lawyers on a career-destroying mission to put themselves out there. I know there's a lot of people who are adamant that they think he's innocent. For me, I think there's a big difference between if they think he's innocent or if they think that they can win. And this is a really big case for a defense attorney to win. Whether they believe he's actually innocent, I know that people have said that. I'm not there yet. I don't know if they believe he's innocent. I think they know the evidence doesn't add up and there's something off here. They knew what he initially said. They knew what he initially said he was wearing, whether it's in that cut and paste or not. He knew what he told them, so he had to match what he said before. That's kind of what this account's saying too. That he knew he was being recorded. Like I said, I can go with that. I can see where you guys think that. But I'm just saying, that's not in the statement. We don't know that he said that. We don't know that he told them that. We don't know that he told them what they were wearing. We can assume that he did, but we don't know that for sure. That's not fact. The only thing that's fact is what's here. We don't even know that he was actually recorded. I mean, let's be real. We don't know that he actually was recorded. I'd love to see if his is the only one that's missing. All the people, all the witnesses that came to the grocery store that day and talked to Mr. Dan Doolin, is he the only interview that's missing? Because that's another big question for me. How are you only missing this guy's? How do we know that? Point me in the direction. I'll go there. Dan Doolin is still alive. Yes. I think the girls were referring to two different guys that they had seen, and they just pulled bits and pieces from their statements to support their narrative, even though they're all different. Well, that's one I want to figure out more about this guy that was walking his dog earlier at the time that the girls would have gotten there. And are they mixing up anything that was going on with him with what this guy that was walking towards them was, or what he looked like? Yeah, he could just say he didn't remember. I'm just saying, if we're going to go with the fact that this guy lied and he's going in there and he's lying about the time he was there because he wants to change his story because he knows what time he's not supposed to have been there, why doesn't the guy go in there and lie about what he's wearing? That's my whole point, is you can't have both. He could easily have gone in there and lied. And if he knew he was recorded and he knows that he said that he was there from 1:30 to 3:30, we can go with that same argument too. Oh shit, I know I was recorded and I know I told him I was there from 1:30 to 3:30. I guess I have to say the same thing. But no, he's going to go in there and change that story. Now I'm back to how I originally felt. Because if he has to lie because he knows what he said in the beginning was recorded, then he has to tell the truth about the time he was there. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and now I'm back to how I originally felt. It doesn't make sense that he goes in there and tells him what he's wearing. Yeah, conveniently lost it. That's why I'm like, if they conveniently lost it and it's only his that's lost, I got a bigger issue. If they put Doolin's lying ass on the stand to testify about what RA supposedly said in 2017, he will get destroyed on cross due to his falsifying evidence in the Snyder case. I don't even know how that guy has a job. He shouldn't even have a job after what he did in the Snyder case. It's the number that goes with the phone, but I don't know how. I'm not that tech savvy to be able to tell you, and maybe C. King can explain it a little bit better. Yes, not there yet. That's exactly how I feel. We need to know the movements of more people. This is where I'm at. This is exactly what I'm trying to figure out because there's more people involved here. And I don't mean more people involved in the murder. I mean more people that would have seen different things. More people that these people could have seen. So where are all those people? Yeah. It seems to me that this could potentially be like a, hey, do you own a black or blue Carhartt jacket? Yes, I do. Do you own light jeans? Yes, I do. Or what do you typically wear around this time? And he's like, yeah, I typically wear jeans all year long. Or, sorry for yelling. I'm the one who's yelling. Go to Divine Vision's crime readings, Richard Allen in Woods at the Delphi 2018 press conference. All right, I'll look at it. You don't have to. You're fine. You can yell. Where is the statement Keegan said he would give after he was sentenced? Silence from a convicted user of child porn. I don't know enough about the Keegan Klein stuff. I do think that there's a very big oddity in that, but his whole stuff doesn't make sense. I'm like, that's a whole nother case in itself. Like, why are they interviewing that guy at the Air Force Base? What the hell's the point of that? What are they getting him on? Something federal? The only place witnesses are listed is on the initially filed information, which just has the charge on it. Kathy is listed as she told them he owned a gun and those clothes, but daughter isn't. Right. Hey, Alley Cattails. He spoke to Murder Sheet. He spoke to Murder Sheet. There you go. Surprisingly. Right. But he covers it by saying, like, Liggett believes. Liggett believes that that's the same person. Liggett believes. All right, where were we? Alan stated that after he passed the girls, he then walks the Monon High Bridge. I think we already read that. She saw her as Blair was leaving. She noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner. We read that. An interview, we read that. Here we are. Then he went to the Mona High Bridge. He also told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood on that day. Can't wait to actually hear this interview. I really can't wait to hear these interviews that they had with Richard Allen. Like, did he say, oh yeah, back on February 13th, 2017, I was totally wearing light blue jeans, probably had a sweatshirt on with a blue-black Carhartt jacket. Yeah, that's what I would have been wearing with my hood on. With my hood. He stated he also wore some type of head covering. He further claimed that he saw no one else but the three girls that he observed east of the Freedom Bridge. Never saw four girls, never saw a group of four girls, only saw three girls. Further, prior to the interview, he told investigators that he also had guns at his house. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, spoke to the investigators as well. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard still has a blue Carhartt jacket. The evidence gathered shows that on February 13th, that four girls, Riley and her sister Isabel, Bree, and Anna, were on the trail when they observed a male individual walking on the trails toward the Monon High Bridge. the male was wearing clothes similar to the clothes of the male depicted in the video taken from Liberty German's phone. We don't know that because he refers to a picture, but now it's changed to the video. Investigators know that this male is the last known individual to have contact with Libby and Abby before they were murdered. Further, Betsy Blair was shown a picture of the individual on the Monon High Bridge, and she says that is the same individual that she witnessed on the trails and on the bridge. In an interview with Richard M. Allen done on October 13, 2022, he admits that he was in fact on the trail on February 13th and walked past the 3 girls and continued on the Monon High Bridge. He stated he was physically on the bridge. After Betsy Blair sees the individual, there are several other individuals on the trail that don't observe the man or Libby or Abby. Sarah then observes a man walking down 300 North with a blue jacket and jeans, and that he is muddy and bloody, as if he had just been in a fight. She has shown a picture of the man on the bridge, and she says that it is the man she observed walking on 300 North. Investigators believe that Richard M. Allen is the last individual to have contact with Libby and Abby. Investigators further believe that Richard M. Allen is the individual depicted on the Monon High Bridge from the video taken from Liberty German's phone. So, yeah, they are. They absolutely are. Yeah, I've got lots of opinions on that. Hey, the Rockaways. Okay, yeah, so that's another big thing. This guy's muddy and bloody. He's muddy and he's bloody. And he gets to his car and he does what? Gets in his car to drive home? Where's the DNA? He's so muddy. He's so bloody. Where is any of that evidence? There's no DNA. Okay, so I have pieced this together from looking at these different interviews. I'm telling you, there is an item that was at the crime scene. Whether it's that cigarette butt, whether it's something else. I've heard different rumors about maybe a Gatorade bottle. It might be there's something else there that was at the crime scene. That's where the DNA, and this is my opinion. This is not fact. This is my opinion from just piecing things together, looking at all of this stuff. So take it for what you want. I'm giving you my opinion. There's something there that has DNA on it. They cannot tie whatever this item is to the crime. But what they've tried to do over the years is to tie the DNA to a person who says they weren't there. If I wasn't there, then why the hell is my DNA there? That's what I think. So I think they have something that has DNA, but they cannot tie. And I think they ran that DNA through the system. So that's another thing you have to take into consideration. They have that DNA. They ran it through the system. One of the interviews, Kim Riley says, we're talking about a guy who's never committed a crime before or never been convicted of a crime before, which automatically tells us they ran it through the system and whoever it is never committed a crime before. So we know that there's DNA from something. The person that the DNA belongs to has never committed a crime, so they don't know who it belongs to, but they can't actually tie it to the crime. They have to tie it to the person. So let's just go with, I'll just call out Detective Liggett. We'll say it's Detective Liggett's item, and he left it at the crime scene. And Detective Liggett says, I've never even been there. Never been there. Never been to this area. Then it's like, okay, well, why would your DNA be at this crime scene if you've never actually been there? There's something to the DNA that they can't tie to the actual crime or the actual perpetrator of the crime. So they were trying to tie the DNA to somebody who was supposedly not there. That's my feeling on the DNA. That's why there's no DNA match. I have no idea. It could be any kind of DNA. Could be spit, could be a bottle, could be anything. But that's my thought. The DNA is not actually tied to the perpetrator. They were trying to tie the DNA to somebody who wasn't supposed to have been there at all. That's where that's my thought from just listening to all the little tidbits that they've said through their interviews. I've heard that there was animal hair, which they could potentially get DNA from, but that's the thing though. They're still, if we believe what Patrick Westphal said, that when they brought him in August, they asked him for a DNA sample. Why are you asking for a DNA sample in August when you've already got your guy? What are you trying to tie that DNA to? That's what makes me, that's another thing that adds to this. It's an item that isn't actually involved in the crime. Something. Yeah, they have animal hair and fibers. That's what they said. Well, Elvis, according to the memorandum, actually gave his DNA. Touch DNA that's mixed or not a full profile, you can exclude people but can't use it for conviction. That's true, but you would have, I mean, technically DNA is an exclusionary tool. So that's why it's always like, all DNA reports kind of read funny, because it's really what it's doing. It's like, I can exclude this person by, you know, this amount of percent, or I can't exclude this person by this amount of percent kind of thing. Though we don't know that he passed. They said he passed because that's what Sleuth Intuition kind of insinuated, based on that they never contacted him again. He said, we can assume you passed then. But Patrick Westphal doesn't know whether he passed or not. And you also have to assume that the defense even knew that Patrick Westphal went back in August and took a DNA test or a polygraph to ever put it in there. So did they? I mean, you could be right. They intentionally left it out. Or it could be they didn't even know that it had happened. There should be a lot of animal DNA. Yep. Well, and also, if you think about it, I mean, it's on land that Ron Logan owned and he raised horses. Yeah, no cat dug up either. No, the original, the search warrant for Ron Logan says that they were looking for animal and fibers. Could be. Yep. And that's why I think they were looking for this. That's why I said it's just my opinion. I think they were looking for something of somebody who shouldn't have been there. Kind of how they ended up tying in the bullet, where they're like, okay, well, why would this bullet be here that matches your gun, Richard Allen? And Richard Allen says, I've never been on that property. Hi, Anna. Yeah, horses, deer. Oh, yeah, urine, spit, all kinds of stuff. And they said that the search on the 13th was kind of just a cluster. There wasn't any control to it. I recently saw an interview, and the man speaking said that the searchers contaminated the scene in some way. I swear he said somebody had actually urinated. Am I dropped? Yeah, that was Kim Riley. He says that in the Down the Hill podcast. No, the HLN Down the Hill documentary. Sorry. Yeah, I played that on here because I'm like, yeah, he said, and he talks about spit. Isn't it ironic? I don't either. And we've heard some of the family members have even said, like, if that was their kid, they wouldn't have called the search off. Right. I've never heard that. I know that at the bar that he went to, there was a picture of the sketch at the bar, and I know at the CVS that he worked at, there was a picture of the sketch on the door when you walked in. But I've never heard anything about articles of the girls in his house. Right. And I could be totally wrong and could be totally different DNA, but that's just my theory. That's what I've pieced together so far. They seized a lot of guns from Ron Logan's house, and they seized a lot of guns from Richard Allen's house. They also had gone and gotten Brad Weber's Sig Sauer, a couple years prior, that they supposedly kept for a few months. I don't even know if the family stayed out all night. I'm getting such mixed things on that. There's an interview where Mike Patty says that he was out there, and then there's another interview where Mike Patty says that they went home. Maybe he just took Becky home. I don't know. And maybe he went back out there. And then there's an interview with Carrie where Carrie says that her brother and his friend were out there until like 3 or 4 in the morning. Well, her brother's friend is Eric Williams. And Eric Williams says he was only out there until 11 or 12 when they told him to stop searching. They say different things. That's my problem. I've heard all of those. Do we think we are going to get license plate numbers and definitive vehicle ID from the Hoosier Harvest Store video, or just usual blurry? That's what I think we're going to get. And I also have a big question about the Hoover Harvest Store has that camera, but the Mears Farm also had a camera. And on the Mears Farm camera is where Derek German is seen. So what else is seen on that camera that we're not hearing in any of these? That's got to be something. Yeah, there's not a public trail over there. But I know that there are people who have gone, you know, I don't know. I don't know how much they were hanging out there at that time, but we know that there was definitely some drug use going on in that area, and we've seen some items under the bridge that have to do with a little bit of the drug trade. So, I mean, were people just wandering on the property at different points? Possible. I have no idea. Mears has 2 cameras. Okay, I only thought they had 1. The Mears camera had to be working. It caught Derek German on the Mears camera. But no unspent bullet at the time of Ron Logan's search. Nope. This is why I have a problem with that, too. When did they actually find it? Can't get a clear answer on that. If his car is seen leaving after 3:30 p.m. on CCTV, is guilt a certainty? I don't know about a certainty, but it definitely lends more credence to the fact that he is guilty. For me, anyway. I need things like that to push me in that direction. Because right now I have 3 different statements, 2 from law enforcement and 1 from him. One law enforcement says he's there from 1:30 to 3:30. Another one says he was there between 1:30 and 3:30. And then he says he was there from 12:30 to 1:30. So the only consistent time that anybody can say he was there was 1:30. And that doesn't have anything to do with the girls. So is that an arrival time or a departure time? I've heard that there was deer cameras out there, and I also hear that they kept getting taken down. So that's another one. Because remember, at the very beginning, they said that his picture was caught on a trail cam. Because they didn't want to put out that there was a phone. Or people just assumed it was a trail cam, whatever. The news put it out like on the next day that the image was captured on trail cam. So they could have just made that shit up too. JB, a little bit, yeah. Or it looks like Elvis. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm like, you can throw up so many persons. I literally bet that you could do a live for like 3 months every day. You guys pick the person that you think it is, and we could go through all the reasons it was probably that person and all the evidence that we would have that supports it. I think that there could probably be a probable cause affidavit for so many of these people. Hey, the Prof True Crime. Yeah, and the sticks weren't even collected till later. They had trail cameras verified by Melvin, but were they working? Because I kept hearing they were getting that every time they would put them up, they'd get taken down. I don't know if that's true or not. The Harvest Store camera is the only hope. His PCA, a car the same color, was arriving at 1:27 p.m. But don't know, can't believe anything anymore. We don't even know it's his car. It just says a car similar to it. So yeah, how accurate is that footage? Okay, I'm gonna leave this one. I want to go over here. Is this the right one? Yeah. It's this one. Make it bigger for you guys so we can go through. A lot of this is kind of repetitive too, so come on, just take me to where I have it highlighted. Because they repeat themselves in this memorandum so much. Hold on. You have a theory. Okay, check this. I'm ready. Nope, just it was rough terrain and it was dark. But then we say that they say there was other people who stayed out there really late. But they also said that Eric Williams was the one who was searching and walked into that area. But then if you listen to Eric Williams, he says that no, he stopped searching prior to getting to that point. And one of the things he was upset about was that if he wasn't told to stop searching, he would have probably walked right upon them because that was the direction he was heading. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a witness at that point. Ari would not walk a mile into town to the Farm Bureau building with blood on him. The killer had to have blood somewhere. I don't know if I think he would have walked a mile to go for a walk. I mean, it's just it's kind of weird anyway. I'd like to know how many people in Delphi would park at that Farm Bureau building and walk to the Freedom Bridge. Is it impossible? Obviously not, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Remember the word on the street was PW and who's the other man, Pagan? Insert him. They had a falling out. Yes, Brett Holder. I can't do theories with digital here. I'll be debunked in seconds. Well, good. Maybe digital can debunk some of my thoughts and put me in the right direction. I was sus of Eric for a bit because on the news he almost called them victims before they were found, but corrected himself. Is there trail access close to the Farm Bureau? I can kind of show you. Hold on, let me find my map. Is there access? No, yes and no. I mean, the Farm Bureau building is over here. And the old building is right next to it, which is now just the parking lot. So he could walk from here to the bridge, because then you have the Freedom Bridge is here. And he says that he parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked towards Freedom Bridge. So walking from here and then towards Freedom Bridge here, which then takes him down the trail and down to the bridge over here, and then walks back and goes over here. So, I mean, yes, you can walk it. I mean, yeah, they go. I mean, you can walk it. It's about a mile away. There's not like a clear-cut path to it that I can tell. Somebody local would have to tell me. He was the bait. They set up because there was a falling out. Yeah, I know. The only problem I have with that is I don't even know if I have. If the falling out was accurate in the story told by Brad Holder's ex-wife, Amber Holder, if that story is accurate, that they got in the falling out because of something that happened over by Patrick's house, so on and so forth. I can tell you right now, I do not believe the whole Patrick story where he says that Brad Holder was going to Christian church and you can't play Asatru and do Christianity. You just can't do that. You take it seriously or you don't play. So I don't buy that. There's obviously some other reason that they had a falling out. Now, I've also heard that Brad Holder wanted to start his own crew. And so Patrick Westfall was part of the Vinlanders. And that's where he was patched into. And one of the questions when he was on that Sleuthy had asked him was if he was part of Sons of Odin. And he was talking about that you can't be part of both. You can't be patched into two different places, essentially. So that led me to think, if Brad Holder, they wouldn't let Brad Holder into the Vinlanders. And he kept saying like, oh yeah, he was, he would support us, and he bought our merch, and this, that, and the other, but he would never get patched into the Vinlanders. If Brad Holder was starting his own crew, his own thing, so that he would be the head of it, and not, since the Vinlanders wouldn't have him, he was just going to start his own thing. Whatever that was going to be called, I have no idea. So then that's where Johnny Messer, who doesn't like Patrick Westfall anyway, and then Elvis and Rod and I don't remember who the third guy was, but there was another one down there. That's where all those guys would come into play. Is now Brad is starting his own thing because nobody will patch him into theirs. So he's like, screw you guys, I'll just do my own. I don't know. See, that's where I don't know. I'm wondering if it was if that's what the fight was about, was that Brad was gonna do his own thing. Is that for real? Or is that a for real thing? The Helmsworths? Or is that just pretend because of the, well, I don't even know if they would call themselves that, because Brad Holder was like Steve Rogers. "20 minutes to walk a mile. That looks far away. I believe the girls were his targets, but I'm not 1,000,000% sure he was definitely going to kill them. They might have recognized him, and it was his only option. Or they ran. Shane. That's my thought too, is that he wasn't going to kill him, but they ran and he had no choice. Or maybe he was planning on killing him. I don't know. I think it was whoever did it, Richard Allen or whomever did it. The event itself was planned. I'm not 100% sold that the victims were already picked. They knew what they were going there to do, but I don't know if they knew who they were doing it to. I think it depends on who the culprit is. If Richard Allen is the guy, his motive is because he's a psychopath or something along those lines. That's because there's people out there that just do it for the thrill of it. As sick as that is, that's what they do. I love hearing everyone's ideas. That's where my ideas come from. Right? And the fact that he makes those statements to his sister on the 14th, most likely before the girls were even found. Yes, he said he spit on Abby. Is he really? I didn't even go down that rabbit hole. Okay. So anyway, so it's not super far. I don't think that there's a trail that specifically takes you from here to here, but could it be done? Absolutely. I think it'd been more wise if they were just like, hey, show us on a map where you parked. And he's like, I parked right over here. Or I parked right over here. But the fact that they say that there's not a Farm Bureau building near there is also weird to me, because it's not that far. So they make it seem like, no, the Farm Bureau building is the one that's like in, it was like 15 miles away. I'm like, no, that's not the one that he would be talking about if he parked there. It would be this one. But another unknown, who the hell knows, right? All right. Let's go back over here. Why are my highlighted things not coming up? There we go. I highlighted this just because I thought it was interesting, where they talk about Richard Allen has zero connections to any pagan cult or pagan cultists, and furthermore, no forensic evidence, such as DNA or electronic evidence, links Richard Allen to the girls or to the crime scene, i.e., he is completely innocent. I wondered about this because of the crime scene pictures leak that was happening, and I was like, are those taken from the perpetrator? If somebody says, hey, those are actually from like Richard Allen's phone, I'm like, that's it, we're done, right? It's over. How far from his house to the trails? Oh, that would be a few miles, because he lives down here. He lives down here. So I mean, could he? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I am with Liggett that he probably parked over here, but he should have just asked. It would have been very easy clarification. All right. Here we go. Okay, so back to this is now we're talking about the memorandum that is from the defense and what they have to say about what these witnesses' statements really were. Hey, Penny's from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The railroad tracks go straight there from town. Huh. I guess if he remembers he stood on the bridge that he might remember where he parked. Right, I just think it should have been very clear. Just ask him. I agree with that too. There's nothing that comes from Liggett that I'm like, oh yeah, that has to be it. Nothing super trustworthy there for me. The evidence will show that Liggett concealed facts concerning descriptions that key witness Betsy Blair made directly to Liggett face-to-face in 2019 concerning, 1, the person that she, Betsy Blair, observed on the bridge, and 2, a vehicle that she, Betsy Blair, observed at the CPS parking lot at or around 2:15. For Liggett's timeline to work and to place Richard Allen on the Monon High Bridge at 2:13, the time of the famous Down the Hill video, Liggett needed Betsy Blair to describe a man on the bridge that looked like Richard Allen, and furthermore desperately needed Betsy Blair to describe a car that she observed parked at the CPS parking lot at approximately 2:15 p.m. as looking like Richard Allen's black Ford Focus. Suffice it to say, the evidence will show that Liggett concealed from Judge Diener that Betsy Blair described a man on the bridge that looked nothing like Richard Allen and described a car at the CPS lot that looked nothing like Richard Allen's car, both in color and design. The evidence will show that Betsy provided these timeline defeating descriptions directly to Liggett face-to-face 2 times in 2019. Yet Liggett failed to inform Judge Diener of these descriptions, as well as inform Diener of the fatal flaws that these missing descriptions created for the timeline. Let me pull this up really quick. Do I have it here? Give me 1 second. I'm looking for something real quick. If I can't find it quickly, I'll move on. Damn it. Okay. I don't think it's, I don't know what document it's in, so I don't want to spend too much time looking for it because I thought it was that one, but I can't find it there. That's what Erskine said. He said it was all over by 3:30. Right. I was looking for the problem with the stupid probable cause is what they did was they put it in 3 different documents, and there's a tad bit different in each of the documents. Like that whole section we just went through and read, there's just a little bit of difference in them and how they word things. And so I was looking for the one that talks about Betsy Blair, but it's not there. That's not what I want. So the probable cause affidavit they released is the one that's got all the redactions, and then they went and did the search warrant and they added it in there, and then they went and did some supplemental document and shit, if I could remember what it's called, and they put it all in there as well. Okay, so the evidence will show that Liggett just flat out lied about what he, Liggett, claims Sarah Carbaugh told him in 2017 concerning a man walking down the road near the murder scene. For Liggett's timeline to work, Liggett needed Sarah Carbaugh to describe a man walking down the road wearing a blue jacket who had blood covering his clothing. However, in 2017, Sarah did not say these things. This did not prevent Liggett from affirming under oath that Sarah Carbaugh did say these things. In fact, what Sarah actually told Liggett in 2017 was that she observed a man walking down the road wearing a tan coat whose clothes were muddy. Nowhere did Carbaugh claim in 2017 that the man she observed was wearing a blue coat. Nowhere did Carbaugh claim in 2017 that the man she observed was wearing bloody clothes. Nowhere. The truth about what Sarah actually told Liggett in 2017 blows up Liggett's timeline, which is the likely reason Liggett failed to include the information in his affidavit. Additional evidence will be presented in the body of this memorandum. So here we are. This now takes away the car parked there at an odd angle. And I think most people know now, because like there's 3 different people who saw a car at the CPS building at approximately the same time, right? We have we have Betsy Blair, who supposedly sees a car parked here that is the old model that reminded her of her dad's. Then you have Terry Wilson, who sees the purple PT Cruiser as he's driving and sees the purple PT Cruiser parked here at about the same time, because hers is at 2:14. Betsy Blair sees this car at 2:14, and then Terry Wilson sees this purple PT Cruiser or SUV here at about 2:10. Then you have Wesley, who sees a smart car here at about 2:28. So there's 3 different witnesses who see 3 different cars at approximately the same time frame. And they're making all of this is why when we look back on it now, and they would never tell us what kind of car it was, this is why we know they could never tell us what kind of car it was, because they didn't know. There was too many different cars. Too many different witnesses saw too many different cars. Yeah, I think Tobe does. I think somebody told me that. I didn't know that until one of the lives I did. So, let me go back. So the car that she describes does not match Richard Allen's. The car that not Sarah. Why? See, I'm going all over the place again. My brain was working for a hot minute. Now it's off. Was it in the memorandum that blood was collected? The memorandum states that there was the lack of blood and what they could have potentially done with it, but none were a Ford Focus. Correct. The only one that they even say resembles the Ford Focus is the one on the Hoosier Harvest Store at 127. So it's 1.8 miles from Ari's house to the trails, and 1.9 miles from the old Farm Bureau building to the trails. Why not just walk from the house? That's a great question. I didn't put that in to see where it was, but that's a great question. Unless he was just in town already. I don't know. I mean, isn't the CVS fairly close to there? I don't know how old she was. But I know that Becky's always said, like, if one person's older and sees the person, they're going to look really young. And if the other person's young and sees the person, then they're going to look really old. Okay, so then we also have Sarah, who doesn't see a car at the CPS building when she drives by later. There's no car there, or none that she speaks of that we're aware of. So she drives by the CPS building but doesn't recognize any car there, which is at 3:57 in the afternoon. Confirms that Tony Liggett concealed evidence in his search warrant affidavit concerning statements of Betsy Blair and fabricated statements in his search warrant affidavit concerning Sarah Carbaugh. One thing I did notice in the memorandum is they don't actually bring up a lot of what the girls have to say. Just somewhat. Just a little bit talking about the dates of the interviews and stuff like that, but come on. Okay. Sarah Carbaugh claims to have observed a man walking down the road with mud on his clothing around 3:57 p.m. on the day of the murders. The man she observed turned into sketch one. According to Holman, sketch one is the killer, Richard Allen. You will also learn later in the memorandum that Betsy Blair observed a man on the High Bridge around 2. The man she observed turned into sketch 2, and according to Holman, this man is also the killer, Richard Allen. So there's we knew that part about the 2 sketches. So I said I'm just going through to try to document everything that has to do with what these guys said. So we can piece it all together and put it down into the documents. Okay, now we're going to talk about another witness. An eyewitness observed a man within a few hundred yards of the Monon High Bridge where the girls were abducted. That man looked like Elvis Fields. This is Teresa Lieber, and I think I've gone back and forth on how she was related to Tobe, but I realize now she is Tobe's. She's Tobe's wife's aunt, so she's his aunt-in-law. So Teresa Lieber lived on the same side of the Monon High Bridge, only 560 yards from the place where the famous Down the Hill video was taken. If you guys aren't familiar with where she lives, I'll show you really quick just so you have an idea. So here is this is the Lieber's property, is right here. So she's seeing a man in this area. And later on you'll hear her say, or it's documented that she says there's like no reason to be there. And you can see the only reason you would come down this road is if you're going to one of these homes. There's no other reason for anybody to be here. A paved road, County Road 625 West, ends almost in front of Teresa Lieber's home. However, that road turns into a private gravel drive, or a gravel road that continues toward the Monon High Bridge and services the home of Brad Weber. Around 8:30 a.m. on the morning of February 13th, 2013, that's a typo, Teresa Lieber observed a man on 625 West near her house standing near mailboxes used by property owners nearby. This is her affidavit and that was attached. Teresa Lieber has never observed the homeowners walk to their mailboxes because of the distance from their homes to their mailboxes. The homeowners drive their vehicles to drop off and pick up their mail. Teresa Lieber had never seen this man before. Teresa Lieber was in the passenger side of a truck being driven by her husband, Dave Lieber. The man Teresa Lieber observed was standing very close to the passenger side of the Lieber truck as they passed. Teresa Lieber, sitting higher in the truck, had a good view of the man's face as she passed him and noticed that the man appeared to be startled and concerned at being seen. Teresa, in fact, turned to her husband and asked something like, "What do you think he's doing?" After passing the man and driving approximately 50 more yards to the driveway, the Lieberts exited the truck. After exiting the truck, Teresa looked in the direction of where the man had been and noticed he was gone. She did not see him on the road at all. Teresa believes the man had to immediately and intentionally hid after they passed him on the road, which would explain his sudden disappearance. The only reason anyone would be walking down that dead-end road would be if they were lost or if they were going to see the Liebert family or the Weber family. Teresa also remembers that the man she observed was wearing a canvas jacket that was nondescript in color, but doesn't remember a hat. Later, Teresa Liebert was asked to provide a description of the man's face that she observed that morning. She did provide the description. The sketch of the man that Teresa Liebert observed that morning closely resembles Elvis Fields. See, this is interesting too, because this is the one considered to be her sketch. But she doesn't remember a hat? Hi, Shay. I like your new name. So she doesn't remember a hat. Even State Trooper Purdy had to admit that the Teresa Liebert sketch and the photo of Elvis Fields resemble one another. Find attached the Teresa Liebert sketch marked as Exhibit 71 and a photograph of Elvis Fields provided in discovery that Purdy was comparing with the sketch marked as Exhibit 72. After the girls were murdered, Elvis told his sister that he was now part of a gang and had a brother. Was the gang mentioned by Elvis, the Vinlanders, and was the brother Brad Holder? Again, these are the types of questions that monumentally inept Unified Command should have been asking. But it's interesting. If that is her sketch, why does it have a hat? If she's saying she doesn't remember a hat. Wouldn't her sketch not have a hat then? I don't know. I have so many questions. I probably should just make a spreadsheet of all the fucking questions I have. Okay. Liggett desperately needed Betsy Blair to describe a man on the Mona High Bridge that looked like Richard Allen, and perhaps more importantly, needed Betsy Blair to describe a car that she observed parked at the CPS parking lot at approximately 2:15 as looking like Richard Allen's black Ford Focus. Betsy Blair's description of the man she observed on the Mona High Bridge around 2 p.m. looked nothing like Richard Allen, and Liggett concealed this information from Judge Diener. Betsy Blair's description of the vehicle was observed at the CPS parking lot looked nothing like a black Ford Focus. Liggett also concealed the information from Judge Diener. For good measure, Liggett also lied about what Sarah Carbaugh observed at 3:57 p.m. that also blew up his timeline. Not to be confused, like he's not saying that this is what Betsy Blair said. He's saying that Liggett needed this to be Betsy Blair. Oh my gosh, it's a fucking tongue twister. Needed this to be Betsy Blair's statement on the probable cause affidavit and the search warrant. Betsy Blair's first description of the man she saw on the bridge was memorialized in sketch number 2, illustrated on February 17, 2017, 3 days after the girls were found, but not released to the public until April 22nd of 2019, following Superintendent Doug Carter's press conference. On February 17, 2017, Betsy Blair met with State Police sketch artist Taylor D. Bryant and provided a description of the man she observed from 50 feet away on the Monon High Bridge. The same man that Liggett claimed in his affidavit was the killer. Betsy Blair told the sketch artist that the man Betsy Blair observed was a white male, age 20, with brown curly hair and a medium build. Now, we know that this is... Why does that one keep popping up? Get out of here, old bridge guy. We're bringing in new bridge guy. So this is Betsy Blair's sketch. So much faith in the eyewitness accounts for a PCA, and my biggest thing with it is, why do you only in the PCA they're literally picking the pieces that they want, which of course, I mean, I get it, but like you say, well, that it matches the one that Anna saw. Okay, what? But it doesn't match the one that the other two girls saw. So now, if you're a guy that was there that day on February 13th, and you happen to match the description of what, let's just say, Bree saw, then do you automatically become bridge guy? Find attached and marked as Exhibit 103 the unredacted facial identification reference sheet, filed as confidential, that contains the description that Betsy Blair provided to the sketch artist. Also, find an attached copy of the sketch. We just showed you that one, that she observed on the bridge, marked as Exhibit 104. The illustration is also called Sketch 2 because it was released to the public second. Upon looking at the sketch, Betsy Blair told the sketch artist that the illustration was a 10 out of 10. What's the saying? He had a head. He had a head and some shoulders. And maybe 2 arms. I really don't know. The Unified Command did not release the Betsy Blair sketch to the public for over 2 years. Instead, they first released the Sarah Carbaugh sketch, also called Sketch 1. The Sarah sketch was illustrated by the FBI sketch artist Plants from Detroit on June 19, 2017, and released to the public on July 17, 2017. This is also something that I have major questions about that make no sense to me. Why did they not put out the first sketch when they had it? Supposedly she goes in there and says, yeah, this is the guy that I saw. He was on the bridge. They show her the picture from the bridge guy. And she's like, yeah, that's the guy I saw. How does that just doesn't make any sense to me. And did they take that photo, that sketch, did they ever take that sketch and show it to anybody else? Was that sketch shown to Bree, to Riley, to any of them? And say, hey, is this the guy you saw? And they're like, no, that guy's too young. We didn't see him. Did anybody get asked any of those questions? And who's Plants? What kind of name is that? Who was the person that Sarah Carbaugh was describing in her sketch? According to Liggett's affidavit, at approximately 3:57 p.m., Sarah observed a man walking westbound on County Road 300 North. Sarah was headed eastbound on County Road 300 North, operating her motor vehicle while simultaneously observing this man walking on the road toward her in the opposite side of the road. This is the same man that Sarah described for the sketch artist on June 19, 2017. We'll discuss that later. If this guy's walking down the road at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, how do we know he has anything to do with anything? Why can't he just be another guy that's walking down the road? This is all farmland. How do we know who that even is? He's not even on the bridge. He's just on the road. I don't know. Roughly 2 years later, in March 2019, Betsy Blair met with Tony Liggett, frustrated that her sketch had not been released to the public. Betsy was frustrated because sketch number 1, which had been released to the public almost 2 years before, did not match that man that she observed on the high bridge. Betsy even commented that sketch number 1 was wrong. Wrong. Certainly, it was odd that the Sarah Carbaugh sketch was chosen to be released over the Betsy Blair sketch for the following reasons. Probably the ones I just said. Betsy Blair provided her description to the sketch artist only 4 days after seeing the man on the bridge while it was fresh on her mind, compared with Sarah, who provided her description to the sketch artist 126 days after she observed the man on the road. Betsy Blair had a good look at the man's face while stationary only 50 feet away, and Sarah was not stationary but rather traveling down the road, operating her vehicle while simultaneously trying to observe the man on the road. In March 7, 2017 interview, Betsy was talking with 2 members of the Unified Command, Kevin Hammond and Tony Liggett. At this interview, Betsy Blair told Liggett face-to-face that the man she observed on the high bridge fit the following description. He was slender and youthful looking. He was boyish. The man was in his 20s to early 30s. His hair seemed poofy, just as the sketch portrayed. He had no facial hair that she could remember. Finally, on April 22nd, 2019, they released Betsy Blair's sketch number 2 to the general public. In fact, upon its release, Doug Carter commented that the man in Blair's sketch was responsible for the murders. Also, at the time of the release of the sketch, Doug Carter also stated that sketch number 1 had now become secondary to the investigation. And if you listen to this channel at all, that's one of my biggest things. At the beginning of this, they literally said to put this first sketch, the old bridge guy sketch, put it away. Put it away. And they even told the family members, or the family members were telling the public, at least at the time, that they identified who that person was, and he's no longer a person of interest. We're now on to this guy that we can't figure out. But at the very beginning of the whole case, they kept telling us that they had identified everybody that was at the bridge that day, except for this one guy that was walking on the bridge in the video. That's why they needed to talk to him, because he was the last one they needed to identify. So which one is it? I guess you say both things, so that way at the end you can be like, see, I always told you guys, if you just, sketches are not a picture. It's not a photograph. You just put the two together and there he's gonna be. But then if it had gone the other way and there was two of them, you could be like, see, I always told you guys there was two different people. And look, you got one that's old and one that's young. It's like they leave it so that they can't be wrong. Yeah, 6 years younger, but he's 50. What is he, 51 now? He was 50 at the time of his arrest, so he was still in his early 40s or mid 40s. And she's saying she could see his face. She did not see any facial hair that she remembered. On March 7th, Liggett was present when Betsy Blair described the man she observed on the bridge. Betsy was actually talking to Liggett face-to-face when she provided the description. Liggett heard Betsy's description of a much younger man with brown poofy hair, but chose to conceal this information from Judge Diener. Blair's description of a youthful, boyish-looking person in his 20s, maybe early 30s, with brown poofy hair obviously does not at all describe Richard Allen. In order for Liggett to have provided Judge Diener with the honest and accurate information, he would have had to have stated the following in his affidavit. I'm going to read that because it's not what actually was said. Liggett had a legal obligation to inform Judge Diener of the vast differences between Betsy Blair's description of the man she observed on the bridge and Richard Allen. He did not do that. In fact, the fact alone should be sufficient to merit tossing the warrant out. However, there's still more. Richard Allen voluntarily was interviewed on October 13, 2022. Watching the videotaped interview, it is apparent that Richard thought he was being asked questions to help assist the police in solving the crime. In trying to provide Liggett and Mullen a timeline of when Richard Allen, was at the trail, Richard stated he arrived at the trail around noon. Later in the interview, Richard Allen told Liggett and Mullen that he probably left the trail around 1:30. In his affidavit, Liggett states that Richard Allen parked his black Ford Focus at the CPS parking lot and then cut over to the trail, where Richard Allen, then walked to the high bridge, ultimately following Abby and Libby across the bridge before abducting them. After murdering the girls, Liggett stated in his affidavit that that Sarah Carbaugh observed a man that Liggett claims is Richard Allen walking along 300 North at 3:57 p.m. westbound toward the CPS lot. The implication being that Richard Allen was walking back to his car after abducting and murdering the girls. If what Liggett wrote in his affidavit were true, then Richard Allen's black Ford Focus would have been parked at the CPS lot from 1:30 until at least 4, giving him time to abduct the girls, murder the girls, and walk back to his black Ford Focus parked at the CPS parking lot sometime after 3:57 p.m. when Sarah Carbaugh observed Richard walking down 300 North. But yet she doesn't see a car there. So, I think that this is probably trying to lead us to think that he's asked questions to help assist in solving the crime. And we won't be able to actually know that until we actually can see it ourselves, and we'll come up with our own opinions. But I just find that wording kind of interesting. That he probably left around 1:30. But this still goes back to my whole thing earlier today, or earlier in this live, where I said, if he's going to lie and change the time he was there, why doesn't he lie and change what he was wearing? All right, let me see if there's anything else in this one. Yes, of course there is. Betsy Blair arrived at the trail at roughly 1:46 p.m. Betsy had parked her vehicle in a different location that the defense calls the Mears parking lot. When she left the Monon Trail and pulled out of the Mears parking lot, Betsy headed west on 300 North in her car and was spotted on the Hoosier Harvester camera heading toward the old CPS lot at 2:14. The old CPS lot is only 36-second drive from the Hoosier Harvester camera. Giving Betsy Blair a full minute to drive from the Hoosier Harvester to the old CPS lot would mean that Betsy Blair would pass the old CPS lot at 2:15. Remember that Liggett has admitted under oath that at 2:15 p.m., Richard Allen's black Ford Focus would be parked at the CPS building while he, Richard Allen, was abducting and murdering the girls. However, at 2:15, Betsy Blair passed the old CPS building, and Betsy did not see a black Ford Focus parked at this old CPS lot. The car that Betsy Blair observed as she passed the old CPS building at 2:15 p.m. looked nothing like a black Ford Focus. But they don't put that in there. They don't put that in the PCA. They don't put that in the search warrant. None of that. Just that there's a car there that's backed in weirdly. So he's not lying. He's just omitting the fact that it doesn't have anything to do with this car. That she did see a car parked there, and it looked weird, right? Annoying but good. Thanks. I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment, Shane. It was an annoying but good one. Why didn't you get a notification? We've been hanging out here for a while. Okay. So, according to Liggett's own report, Betsy Blair observed one car parked at the CPS lot at 2:15, and that car resembled a 1965 Ford Comet that her father once owned. The shape had sharper angles. Again, to whom did Betsy Blair provide this description of a 1965 Ford Comet-looking angular in appearance vehicle? None other than Liggett himself. Liggett was fully aware that the car that Betsy Blair described as being backed into a spot at the old CPS building looked nothing like Richard Allen's black Ford Focus. But Liggett concealed that information from Judge Diener. It should also be noted that if Richard Allen left at 1:30, then the person that Betsy Blair observed on the high bridge at roughly 2 p.m. was not Richard Allen. This would explain the person that Betsy Blair observed on the high bridge looking nothing like Richard Allen, because it wasn't Richard Allen. It was a 20-year-old kid with brown poofy hair. Concealing Betsy's description of the vehicle at the old CPS building from Judge Diener may have temporarily plugged a hole in the dam of Liggett's problematic timeline when Diener reviewed the affidavit on October 13, 2022, but Liggett's concealment has now been exposed. And it wasn't a Ford Comet. Mercury's the one that made the Comet, but she said Ford Comet, so that's what was important. And it gets even worse. When asked to describe the color of the car that resembles a 1965 Ford Comet, Betsy Blair actually told Liggett that the car she saw was not black. That is right. Liggett heard from the mouth of Betsy Blair that the 1965 Ford Comet-looking vehicle was not even black, which is the color that Liggett needed the vehicle to be in order to fit the description of Richard Allen's black Ford Focus as described in Liggett's affidavit. Well, all Liggett puts in there was that Betsy saw a strange car, a car parked at the CPS building, parked in a strange way. So once again, there's definitely some omission if this is, Betsy's actual description of the car. So they put it, there's 3 different witnesses that would have seen the car there at that time. All 3 witnesses say it's a different car. But once again, it's just witness statements. Eyewitnesses are not reliable, but this whole case is built around them so far. Because of Betsy's description of the car she viewed at the old CPS building, evidence supports that Richard Allen left at 1:30. At some point in time after Richard left the old CPS lot, an older, angular-looking car that resembled a 1965 Comet and was not black arrived at the old CPS building. Then the driver of this 1965 Ford Comet-looking, angular, non-black vehicle backed into the CPS parking lot at roughly 2:15. When returning home, Betsy Blair observed this car that reminded her of a car her dad had growing up. My question to you guys is, because I'm not a car person, I should just ask my husband, but I know one of you guys will know. How close would this 1965-ish Mercury Comet look to a PT Cruiser or SUV type car? I mean, I'm thinking this is more like old school, like muscly. Let's just fucking look it up. Yeah, okay. See, it doesn't look anything like what the Terry Wilson guy saw, though. No similarity. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because you got the Terry guy who says it looks more like a SUV PT Cruiser, but then the other guy says it looks more like a smart car, which none of them look the same. None of them look the same, and they're all seeing a car there at the same time. But I mean, they look very different. Yeah, PT Cruisers are very distinct. Yeah, not even close. Muscle cars. Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head, but it was a lowrider, maybe like a GTO. Yeah, Jeremiah, they really are. But they're not even like similar. So I'm like, how would you go from a car like this to a Ford Focus? I think that the closest one might be a smart car to the sizing of it, because the PT Cruiser or SUV, maybe he remembers it being a larger car, like it, is more boxy and larger, like an SUV or a PT Cruiser. And then the other guy, but then we don't even have, I know the poor jury are going to be so confused. Well, here's the thing, Savannah, a lot of the stuff that we even talk about may not ever even make it in front of a jury. And the stuff that we do talk, stuff that does make it in front of the jury could have a much clearer picture than what we've been shown. And that's pretty common. I mean, they're not telling us, they're not writing out their entire case on either side for us. I mean, I know the defense did a pretty good job writing a lot of shit, but this is just weird. Some of those people might not even be called as witnesses. Some of these people that we hear about in these affidavits may not ever even see the stand. And the jury may not even know any of this, may never hear of any of this. They might bring it up. I don't know how much they're going to really want to confuse the jury, though. So if it doesn't actually play into whatever defense they choose, and right now we don't even know how the defense attorneys are going to line out. We could be sitting with Scremin and Labrato at this point. We won't have any answers to that for a little while. So that's what I'm saying. So they may not, I think it would only become really important for the defense to bring up any of this is if the prosecution would have to put Sarah Carbaugh on the stand, right? And then they're asking her questions about, what car she saw or what the description was of the guy. But I still don't even see, like, to me, they'd have to put like a Terry Wilson on the stand for them to even want to bring out like a Sarah Carbaugh or a Betsy Blair seeing the description of the car. I don't even know how much of this will ever make it to a jury. I don't even know how much this case is going to make it to a jury. That's a whole nother live, though. Where were we? All of this adds up to the fact that evidence concealed by Liggett supports that Richard Allen was not at the crime scene, as he had already left at 1:30 and was already home by the time that Betsy Blair observed the 1965 Ford Comet-looking non-black vehicle at the CPS building, and Liggett knew it. Again, because of Betsy Blair's description of the vehicle she observed at the old CPS building, evidence supports that Richard Allen was also home by the time that Betsy Blair saw the 20-year-old with brown poofy hair on the bridge, which again explains why the person on the bridge looks nothing like Richard Allen, because it wasn't Richard Allen. See, this whole thing to me just means that he doesn't have a solid alibi. He does not have anything that's going to prove that he was not there. Because if he did have something that proved he wasn't there, that would be out there. It's like this. That's why alibi defenses they're almost silly, because if you actually had solid proof that you were somewhere else, Like if they had video of, him driving to his house and parking in his driveway from a Ring camera across the street at 2:13 p.m., or 2:10, that they would put that out there. But now here's a problem with the defense team who has to go back and try to find evidence from 6 years prior to their person being arrested. None of that shit's even going to exist. What if the guy did park at the old Farm Bureau building and he was caught on camera walking to the Freedom Bridge? That camera shit's not that. There's no camera footage that's going to exist anymore. So you can only just poke holes in what this is. That's why alibi defenses are just silly to me. You can't. You have to have a solid. Here I was, and if you do, then you're just going to take that to the prosecutor and be like, "Dude, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? This doesn't even make sense. I have my guy on a Ring camera at home at the time," and the prosecutor's going to go, well, "Yeah, I'm not going to try this case because I'm going to lose." There will still be Delphi lives in 2040. Whatever happens, it will keep going. I want to know why he came forward and told the DNR officer that he was there that day if he killed those girls. That just doesn't make sense to me at all. I've heard people say that that is weird. I've also heard other people who are in this field say that, no, it's not weird. And there are people who want to be, we always hear like there's killers who return to the scene of the crime. One of the things that I learned was like, at the crime scene, you take pictures. You don't just take pictures of the crime scene. You're taking pictures of everybody who's standing there, because most likely the person is standing there watching. So I don't actually think it would be too weird for somebody to come forward and be like, "Yeah, no, I was there." Especially, say his wife knew he was there. Say he tells his wife, "Hey, I'm going for a walk at the 505 or whatever." And his wife is like, "Hey, did you hear on the news there's 2 girls that are missing? They're going to have you're going to need to like let them know that you were there and what you saw." I think there's a lot of reasons that somebody would come forward. Never come forward, never ever. That's what I think too. Freaking Dan Dooley. Yeah, they like to insert themselves in weird ways. But like I'm saying, he could have easily tried to just play it off like, "Look, I was there. I went and told him I was there, and that's really the end of it." And his wife's probably like, "Oh, well, nobody ever came to talk to us again." I mean, shit, you have Cheyenne that was there after the fact, and they went and talked to her 2 weeks later. Took them 2 weeks to even go talk to her. They don't even go talk to this guy. But Liggett finds the tip in the Orion system. Like, how did they not see that? What was it marked as? Was it marked as followed up? Was it marked as complete? Was it marked as, remember? Okay, I'm not going to be able to find it right now probably. But in here they talk about the tips that came in about Holder and how Liggett and was it Liggett or Holman? One of them. I don't want to say the wrong one. That one of them was going in and like marking it like done, and that these were the different things that it meant when you marked it. What was Richard Allen's tip marked as? Like never followed up? Look at page 132. Which part? Which part of this one? I checked my audio recordings and cannot find one for him. I will keep looking because I'm sure I recorded every interaction I had related to my assigned leads. They misfile his name. Yeah, but they misfile his name. But still, there has to be something for. Let me just see if I can find it. I don't know if I'll be able to find it or not. You guys know what I'm talking about? But it's not. I mean, it's not really misfiled. It's just filed under Richard Allen Whiteman. It's not misfiled though. I know, me too. I mean, it's not really a misfile. If it's put into the Orion system, there has to be a closure to it. And that's what I was saying is they talk about like the tips that came in about, there's probably going to be too many. Like they have a system of what they mark them as. We're approved. The lead was approved. That means further action could be taken on that lead. I know that you guys remember what I'm talking about. Yeah, 10 to 20 kids there that day that she didn't see them. Maybe she was supposing there were that many. I've been many times and passed 0 to 3 people over 5 hours. Yeah. I don't remember how they did it, but they talk about how they coded it and that how one of the law enforcement kept saying, nope, that one needs to be here, like no further leads. Maybe this is it. This is a dead end, no further leads. No further leads. This one says fully covered. This is where it is right here. So which one was his? What did his tip have on it? That's what I'm curious about. Does it say like it was closed and that's why they didn't go back to it? Did somebody close it? Was it fully covered, as they say? All right, I'm going to go back down here and see what else we have. So I don't feel like we were done. Now I don't know where I was, you guys. I think I was right here. For Dan Doolin to not mark this as more important to me as a red flag, is that rare out there? I don't know. He's like, yeah, I have a guy that was there, but it's also the weirdest thing to me that the guy's standing on the freaking stage. He's standing on the stage when they're showing the pictures of him, and he doesn't even go, hey, I know that guy, which also leads more credence to me that he did not tell him that he was there at that time and that he did not tell him he was wearing those clothes. And maybe that's why Dan Doolin did not recognize him, because he didn't actually know. And he wasn't there at the time they needed people. They were looking for people to talk to. If he actually told him he was there from 12 to 1:30, or he says, yeah, I was there around 1:30, I mean, that could be why Dan Doolin isn't paying any attention to him. Yeah, they're asking for tips on stage, and Doolin's like, twirling my thumbs, twirling my thumbs. The problem is that in 2017, Sarah Carbaugh told Liggett to his face that the man she observed walking west on 300 North was wearing a tan-colored coat and a tan-colored coat, a lighter colored coat, not a blue jacket. This is a problem because the color of this man's coat did not match the coat of the 20-year-old boyish-looking man with poofy brown hair that Betsy Blair observed on the High Bridge around 2. According to Liggett, both of these men were Richard Allen. Another way to put that is that Richard, gosh darn it, is that Liggett has asserted that sketch 1 and sketch 2 are the exact same man, Richard Allen. Did I already read this? Because that means, I feel like I read that already. There's just so much repetitive that it makes it really hard. I should have just gone through and like highlighted the different words. Hi, the analyst. How are you? I'm hoping, Christine, I'm really hoping that when everything is said and done, that we're going to look back on this and be like, man, why were we ever even questioning that? They had so much, or they, had whatever. I'm really hoping that we're going to have some type of resolution here that isn't as freaking sloppy as what we're looking at currently. That's where I'm at. Because I'll tell you, when they arrested him, I was like, okay, they figured it out. They got the guy. Like, I was on board. I was like, this makes total sense. Like, you know, some random dude has no ties to anything. That goes in and does this. It made total sense on why it took him so long to figure it out, because he wasn't connected to anything. That made more sense to me. And then as all this stuff starts coming out, and it's not about the Odinism stuff, because I'll tell you guys, I'm not sold that it's an Odinism thing. I am 100% on that whatever was placed on those girls and what was placed on the tree, I believe it was intentional. I just have no flipping idea what it means. You know, I'll show you guys that real quick before we wrap it up, because I think a lot of this is just repetitive, and I'm telling you right now, I don't even know where I was at, and now it's all the same. But I want to show you guys this. Let me see if I saved it. So they talk about in the memorandum, when it comes to the Odinism stuff or the Brad Holder stuff, they talked about that he had put the asterisk, that he had drawn it on his hand, right? And shit. Let me save it real quick. You guys remember this? We talked about it before when we were going through all the screenshots. It's not an asterisk. I can describe shapes better than faces I passed on a trail. What do you think it is? You don't think it's an asterisk? An asterisk? Asterisks? No conversations? Sorry, did you pop in when I wasn't talking? I was looking for something. Sorry, Shannon. Okay, so you guys remember we talked about this? This is Brad Holder's hand. So one of the things I was looking at earlier is the comment that's actually with it. And so it says, the past 2 days I've drawn, and I'm going to probably say this wrong, the Gibo rune. Last Saturday, I hit a deer on the way to work. Earlier this week, I sold my Dodge. With that money, I ordered a new bumper. This morning, I hit a raccoon on the way to work. Not that I don't appreciate the gifts the gods are giving me, both positive and negative. I don't think my nerves can handle much more gift giving. Let's try to slow this down with an Isa rune, Isa Gibo. Not an asterisk. I'm in agreement that it's not an asterisk now, but I didn't realize that before. So let me show you guys why I realized it's not an asterisk. But the weird part is what is placed on Abby is whatever he's talking about then. Or is it the asterisk? That's my question, I guess. Hold on. I gotta send these to myself so I can show them to you guys. So he talks about both of those. So check this out. That he's using the one to slow down the other. He's using this one, which is stillness, self-control, identity, and focus. He's using it to slow down this one. Shit. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, Gibo is the X part, so is the I. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so you didn't hear it here first, obviously, but no, I'm just joking. But I didn't realize that. I was looking into it being this symbol. And then I realized after reading that, I was like, wait a minute. It's not, it's both. So this one is the exchange, the sacrifice, the sacred union, generosity. That's this one. And then this one is placed on top of it. His remains were just found yesterday, 4 years later, and she was 400 yards from her house. How did they not find her before now? That's crazy. Was she buried? When he said he had an interview with FSG, I thought BS, and the paper have 6 people working the case. ISP don't have 6 no more. I think that's a comment to somebody else. But do they place sticks or the ruins more about carving into wood? Well, we know that that at least Brad Holder really likes sticks because he posts all over Facebook about different stick runes that he has either made or seen or. They have a very limited alphabet. Okay, yeah, so I didn't put 2 and 2 together until recently. Now I realize that this is this. It's both of these. And it looks like the sticks that are on Abby. So just something odd that when I was reading the comments here about that it's not like what he was actually drawing on his hand, because I didn't pay attention to that before. Correct. Not buried, her skull was found. That's so crazy. How did they not find it? Yeah, I don't really believe in coincidence either. And I think it's just really weird that this is, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is all just a great conspiracy coincidence. Who knows? I don't know. I don't even know anything anymore when it comes to this fucking case. I hate it. But yet I can't leave. Hey, Glass Garden. So Brad is the one that in the defense memorandum they put that they believe that he's involved. His son was actually dating Abby for whatever you can consider dating at the age of 13. I think he was 16 at the time, 15, 16. So, and he's an Odinist or a self-proclaimed Odinist and practices Odinism. And so, there was a very strong suggestion at the crime scene that there was possibly some type of Odinistic runes that were left. I don't know, but I just thought this was interesting. And if you guys all knew this, then, I'll welcome me to the club because I just figured it out. 1960. Hi, honey. Good morning from Oz. I just woke up. Love Defense Diaries. What did Digital say? That was well said. Let me go back up. What if RA, this is K-Birds, what if RA and a couple more people were newbies in a type of group and this murder was an initiation? When RA felt LE was onto him, he came forward from guilt. Group says keep quiet or will harm his fam. Well, I mean, it's possible. It's weird. They obviously, he has a motorcycle. They took a motorcycle cover. I swear I used to have a picture of him next to a motorcycle, but I can't seem to find it now. It's the weirdest shit. And maybe I just imagined I had that. So they obviously, there's something tying all the motorcycles together. So you got, the MCs with the Sons of Odin and the Vinlanders. Was he trying to get into something? Shit, I don't know. Maybe he had just heard talk about it. We have no idea what he knew and what he didn't. We obviously, the defense and the prosecution would know what he had searched on his phone or anything like that. But maybe he was just talking to the guys at the bar about it. Maybe he just heard about it. And so he decided to set it up that way. We don't know. This is why I'm like, can we just get the damn trial going? Okay, what did digital say? And why am I not seeing it? Saying that digital said something really good and I don't even get to know what it is. It's like a train wreck. Your brain says, look away. But your heart says, don't stop looking and asking and digging. I just want to have, some type of peace in my own self that that we're on the right path. I think that's where I'm at. Like, I cannot bring myself to go one way or another, and I need to be able to do that to stop. Connect Brad Holder to Keegan Klein and you've solved the case. You think Keegan, well, I mean, you think that Keegan Klein would have given him access to like Anthony Schatz kind of thing? Not prosecutors. No, prosecutors are not. Defense attorneys do. Absolutely. Yeah, please don't, Stella. That's good. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. We've been on here for over 3 hours. I don't even feel like I wasn't even making sense at the beginning of this. I don't think I'm making any sense of it now. It's just so crazy. Hopefully, like I said, I might be back tomorrow with, I want to go through all the Richard Allen, all the stuff that says Richard Allen is guilty. We're going to go through everything that we can find that says Richard Allen is guilty, and we're going to prove his guilt one way or the other. Not really, because we don't have all the evidence, but you know what I'm saying. With what we have now, let's just go through it and see what there is. I'm either going to do that tomorrow or I might do that on Monday, but I also might be back tomorrow with a totally different topic. I don't know. There might be a scheduling conflict with that, but we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Well, she shall see. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm done. I appreciate you guys so much. I mean, I love you guys hanging out with me and just helping me walk through these crazy ass pieces of this case. And I want you guys to know, I mean, I really appreciate you guys being here. It's very humbling that you guys care to even hang out with me and go through this. So just know, I know you guys have 1,000 other places that you guys could be spending your time, and you choose to spend it here with me. And I really appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to wrap it up, and we will talk either tomorrow or on Monday. Have a good one.